Hello, and welcome back to the Awakening Philosophy podcast. My name is Jed, and we are exploring, the significance of dreams. What activity or element places certain kinds of philosophers above others? Let's jump in. We started with the, let's get Socrates out of my face. Get out of my face. Where's my sound drop?
Would you just blow in from Stupid Town?
Come on, Sock. Are you in Stupid Town? Another member of the 8th class of interpreter. Just to review real quick, to remind ourselves.
Making ice cream is a good and courageous thing.
It's important to remember that Emma thinks ice cream is so courageous. But also, to remind ourselves, part of the art of the dialectic is practicing it. And part of our purpose here is to do our best to share that there is an understandability to self, reality, our highest excellence, our greatest functioning, and our problems. So the dialectic, the skill of thinking, the skill of understanding, we have been looking at recently as the mean term. It's the method through which we learn, think, learn how to communicate in a good way, providential way, ideally. It's the archetype for spirituality. It's our purpose evolutionarily speaking, because if our human problems individually and culturally are an expression of a pathologos, false belief about self and reality we identify with and form groups around and justify murdering others not in that group, then our purpose is to move from belief as a cognitive function to understanding. That's interesting because we're solving all problems. Whatever problem you've ever looked at, they all have the same source, someone's state of mind. Think of any person who's done anything bad. What's common is a state of mind preceded that activity. So if we address the kinds of states of mind or the ways humans use their mind, we can identify what leads to negative behavior. Turns out to be a belief, a fundamental false belief about self and reality called the pathologos, and what use of our mind facilitates our benefit, which includes healing those negative beliefs and perfecting our excellence of understanding. So, sharing it. So if the dialectic is the method, the art of that we're here to master as human beings, well, again, any sentient species, we could do a dialectic on the dialectic. So if dialectic is the skill of understanding, and dialectic is the art we're here to master, we would have to understand the art. So if understanding the art is necessary for mastering it, and dialectic is both the understanding and the art, well, we have to do a dialectic on the dialectic. One way of doing that is as a whole to recognize you learn the truth about the dialectic from philosophy. You can function or demonstrate that by purifying what's false, solving human problems. We have been reading in the text the significance of the fact that you only really are able to perfect both of these through dream analysis, a kind of guide in that journey. And dialectic may be the highest expression of dream analysis, might be the highest expression of dialectic. Because what another thing dream analysis does is creates stories to represent through mini movies or analogies the essential elements of these two activities, giving you puzzles, questions to solve. Pretty sure Socrates ripped off the Egyptians. How sure are you? Are you sure enough to be able to do a dialectic or present a rational argument to make that case? Because if you're seeing something, it's important you learn how to use your own thinking, your own mind, to communicate that to others, because that serves two functions. Number one, you get to test your own understanding and vision to see whether or not you're mistaken. Maybe your vision is lacking, or maybe your vision is right, you just lack the understanding of your vision. But also, it helps you share it with others who can benefit. And that's what we're learning here. That's the dialectic. Because dream analysis is able to not only have the true vision of your problems, what's false, also a true vision of the truth of yourself and reality and your highest goals, has the art to be able to ask questions, give you puzzles, and judge your answers. The art of asking questions and judging answers is the dialectic as well, but can present a story or a movie to communicate it to you. So it ticks all boxes. Dream analysis is a master of the dialectic, questions and answers, understands your philosophical journey to know the truth, definition, understands the history and the nature of your problems, midwifery, and can communicate it to you in a way you can benefit from it. It's a win-win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
That's interesting. What would that say about the maker of our dreams then? And given that, highest expression or excellence of the very art we're here to master as people, perhaps we're seeing why Socrates and Jesus are saying that it's the philosophers who have understood the significance and necessity for dream analysis. It's those philosophers that stands above and apart from the others. Good thing we have this banger book, and good thing we have the dreams each night so we can verify our understanding and experience and benefit ourselves. Now there's another element in the dialectic we're missing, I think. Dreams communicate what's true, what's false. Oh yes, I remember now. Prophecy, or divination, or future sight. That's the new element that's only just been raised in the text. So we can also say dream analysis not only knows the history of your problems in your past and your past reading, how you're going with your reading to find what's true, knows how it's playing out, how your problems or your reading is playing out in your present, past, present, but also has some insight into what will happen as a result of that in your future. Past, present, and future. It's this future thing that we're looking at now in the text. So, thankfully, we are, well, if that's the case, that would put the wonderful noodles who watch this stream, hooray for you, noodles.
Bless you. Bless you. Excuse you.
I'm going to go use abs dollars. I
Wait.
love this guy.
We love these guys.
Absolutely gooped.
And even if you're not gooped.
Unbelievable sluts these days.
Oh my god, these days. So, I need to make sure that I need to change my soundboard because I want to say something pleasant and sometimes I get something like this.
You have severe mental illness and you need to be fucking checked into an insane asylum.
So I'll work on that. So yes, wonderful noodles, because we are seeing the significance and necessity for dream analysis, which not many, if any, Socrates, philosophers have seen up until now. Now, Socrates, of course, the author that N.P.A. Grimes, the author we're reading, and the only other one that seems to be in the lineage who has seen the value and necessity, and, well, I don't know if they've nailed it down the way we have, but perhaps is this, this new character. His name is Synesius the Alexandrian. So that's where we are. Now, of course, we have been getting information, or one of the puzzles being sent to us, not from our dream maker, well, kind of yes, but from the text, is to nail down the dialectic method of dream analysis. We've got enough clues to so far to point to the fact that it would be the dialectic. If dialectic is the mean term, if dialectic is the skill of understanding, if it's the opposite to interpretation, which is the cause of our problems, which is the functioning of belief, and if Socrates only was able to learn to understand his dreams after he learnt the dialectic from Parmenides, we have enough clues from the text to realize it would be some sort of application of the dialectic to unpack dream analysis. We're also seeing that it's through the dialectic we can participate in providence. And if one of the greatest ways providence is extended to us, some sort of divine intelligent care that benefits us, if one of the greatest ways it's extended to us is through dreams, and it's through dialectic we participate in providence, then that's reason 50 why it would be the dialectic. But of course, there is no book written about that yet. That's your job as the noodles. Still haven't found a way of sitting that's good on my back in this chair. Okay. Okay, so that's where we are. Let's keep going. Okay, so we've gone through the different hypotheses of the Parmenides, the dialectical map of all of the possible ways of thinking that a person can have. So, in principle, any problem a human being has is understandable in virtue of the fact that it would fit within one of these 9 hypotheses. You understand it? Also, our purpose. So if that's escaping fate, our destiny or our highest purpose would be also understandable in that it would be simply progressing through those stages, seeing as those ways of thinking, which also mean ways of being, ways of feeling, ways of functioning in the world, are hierarchically arranged. They're ordered. It's not just a bag of marbles. There's no any marble can be in next to any other marble. It's not like that. So, after reviewing the hypotheses, Jesus comes in and says, "So your reflections created the conditions for your search, and the search brought you to the practice of mind coming to know the mind. I like that because it is a contemplation that begins and ends in a true philosophy." We have been working on what a true philosophy is. We have that section up here. It's to do with this hierarchically ordered arrangement of the different ideas of self that is seen for yourself. So it would also require, bringing me to see. So it can't be a belief, can't be something you just carrying on faith or belief or trust or any of that stuff. So that would also require true philosophy to include a study of the different cognitive functions or the ways in which we see, allowing us to distinguish ignorance from wisdom, belief from understanding. The dialectic is our mean term or method. There's our skill in art, allowing us to participate in true philosophy. And then from there, we have the 9 hypotheses or Parmenides to rank those ordered ideas of self. Now, we have suggested that there is a missing 10th hypothesis, which would be the rejection of the one self. So we are calling the pathologos. The 5th cause, so we've been using the causes to understand these as well. There are lots of different, as this is the paradigm, there are lots of different structures to nail it down in understanding. Causes is one. So after going through those hypotheses, Jesus asked the questions, okay, true philosophy sounds great. And this includes all the ways mind communicates with us. So there is a communication going on. Our job is to pay attention. So what would that require? Curiosity, openness, a desire to learn. Are you able to sacrifice the certainty that with which you hold your own personal beliefs in order to develop true understanding and insight? How do we reach out? So, all the ways mind communicates to us. I do enjoy the way you're bringing that all together into a unity. Thanks. Hooray. Socrates says we covered a lot of ground. And by the way, go back and use this newly understood map that you have at your disposal to rank or understand all of the philosophers and put them in a hierarchy. Not all philosophers are equal, of course. Can we use this hypothesis to see a hierarchical arrangement of them? By the way, let's add another person. Now, we have been developing a list of interpreters because, as we've been saying, 1, 2, 3, 4 expressions of the dialectic, and this last one is sharing it, like our Dream Master does in creating our dreams. So one of the difficulties in sharing this truth is people are more interested in regurgitating the ignorant beliefs they already carry than to be open and curious about learning new things. People want to pretend to be a knower because that's the 10th hypothesis. That desire to, it's the 10th hypothesis. Let's go back to our map. So if the first hypothesis is the one self that we are seeking as our purpose, the source of everything, beyond existence, and then if we don't accept that as the one self, we could say, well, let's pretend the self exists. Doesn't. It's the source of existence. But it is reflected into existence to give rise to, or to be the cause of, existence. Second hypothesis, mind, ousia, truth and reality. How would it function? Providentially, understanding. There's our knowledge and understanding, the whole and the parts, the ousia and logos of wisdom. By the way, there is some learning process going on, and that learning involves not only a mastery of this wisdom, but a purifying of anything else that's in opposition to it. Ignorance, purification of ignorance. What's ignorance? The imitation of knowing belief. The imitation of understanding, using your language to reject understanding. So we had someone just come in and say, I'm pretty sure Socrates ripped off the Egyptians. Now, he didn't elaborate on that thought. I would like him to. But if he did elaborate on that, how would that end? Every now and again we get somebody coming in here who functions in the same way. I think you guys should stop what you're doing. Why? Because he's just ripping off the Egyptians. You might as well not read it. You can't know the truth. Socrates never met Parmenides. My college teacher told me, and I believe him with all of my heart. Dreams have no meaning. You can't know reality. No one knows what happens when you die. There are lots and lots of different ignorant beliefs that can be used to reject the development of understanding. How can you master Socrates or know the meaning of life or experience reality if you're certain that it's impossible? So that certainty, I just know it to be true, isn't real knowing, it's belief. You're imitating someone, usually a parent or parental figure. Parental surrogate. And your activity, so if we have belief as the model, its activity would be to, you shouldn't do philosophy, just stop it. The same way their parents told them to give up on their own purpose. Imitating the bully. So we could say if this is the model, belief, and this is its activity, both of which in ignorance is the shadow of the model, knowing, and it's our true activity, understanding that we master through the dialectic. So anything that rejects the mastery of the dialectic. So you could say, someone coming in and say, oh, I don't think Socrates met Parmenides, the dates don't match. Somebody came in and said that a while ago. There's our friend here coming in and saying, oh, I don't think Socrates, I think Socrates was just copying the Egyptians. Meaning what? Stop. Oh, I don't think you can understand anything. Everything is a matter of perspective. We explored that idea yesterday or the day before. What's common? All of them function or conclude the same way. Don't learn the dialectic. All pathologos necessarily function to block the logos. If logos is our purpose, if logos is the method, if logos is the path. Last year I was joking about Beefgate 2025, where I agreed with something that Emma,
Making ice cream's a good and courageous thing.
from the majority report, was concluding that the left wing need a model that's understandable so that these Republicans pretending to be Democrats can't get away with their fascism. And so it's not a matter of praying that Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer happens to have the opinion that helps people. It's a objective model of understanding, nothing to do with personal beliefs or opinion, that we need in government to stop the fascists that aren't being stopped by the left wing. And the lack of this model allows there to exist even a fascist party. Why the fuck is there a political party that's whole job is to lie to us and hurt us and scam us? There's never a doctor whose job is to hurt patients. There's never a pilot whose job is to kill his passengers. Why the fuck is there an existence of a party whose whole purpose is to hurt people and scam people? We need to establish a principle, a model, and I agreed with her and said, by the way, that's the logos. Her own Twitch moderators banned me without even saying a fucking word. Instantly rejected my ban appeal. So even among the best people who are doing the best kind of reflection, among the many, they still have the same problem. Why? You can't solve human problems without the dialectic. If you don't know the word logos, you can't see it. If you don't have a name for something, you can't see it. If you can't see it, you can't use it. And if you can't see it, the pathologos ignorant people, the fascists, the right-wingers, the religious cults, can use your blind spot to manipulate you. You need the word logos, so you can master it through the dialectic. That's our purpose. Everything we are seeing playing out with fascism and capitalism and ICE and the Nazis and all of this terrible injustice is nothing other than mind screaming at us, pay attention to the fucking logos. Learn it. It's your job. You've got understanding, right? Hey, there's skateboards. Right? There's skateboards. Don't you want to, if you're interested in skateboards and you want to ride or do tricks on a skateboard, don't you have to understand it? By the way, is it worth looking at the model? Why the heck are you not looking at the model of your own goddamn thinking? Pay attention. Listen. But we don't. Why? Because you can't just listen. If it was that easy, we would have been continuing our upward development since Socrates, but we didn't. We murdered Socrates. Why? If all he did was help us, all he did was help individuals solve problems, if all he did was share the logos, the very thing we're here to master, why the fuck did we kill him?
You moron. You absolute fucking buffoon. You goddamn idiot.
Because we get from childhood ignorance. We get a false belief called the pathologos, and it's functioning the fifth hypothesis. We're in the fourth and fifth. Both of this is defined by the pathologos. The pathologos functions in opposition to the logos. So if you suggest there's a meaning of life, if you suggest that Emma is right,
I'm cute. Like, it's cutie pie.
and a cutie pie. If you suggest that there is such a thing called the logos, if you suggest there's a better way of solving problems than just shooting people who look different, if you suggest there's a better way of doing philosophy on the internet than fucking debate, which is stupid, then every single human being will have in some way, in some aspect of their soul, an aversion to it. Even though it's what benefits, even though it's fun, it helps, human beings don't want to hear that, because we are in our savage barbarian arc within the story, epoch within history, stage within development, defined by a blind loyalty and attachment to that which trains us that virtue is vice. If all of the virtues we've been reading about are all to do with following the logos, temperance, keeping you cool as you desire the logos, courage, seeking the logos, and keeping in mind at the same time, even when it's scary, and keeping in mind at the same time that the greatest difficulty and the greatest problem is the pathologos. Wisdom, to be ruled by the logos. Justice, having those three and functioning through that logos at all times. If they're all about the logos, then belief or atheism or dualism, opposing dialectic, is vice by definition. What do the fascists claim as virtue? Shutting down the colleges. Anyone who tries to have a conversation, laugh at them and spray tear gas in their face. Anyone who wants to help others learn, claim they're in an ivory tower. See, it's all anti-understanding or anti-logos, and all of these arguments that these chatters come in every now and again with function in the same way to try and get you to shut down the development that they were shut down from. Because if they realize why they have been shut down, in order to realize that they are blocked themselves, they have to reflect on their parents, their earliest teachers, and they don't have the courage, integrity, or character to do that. A blind loyalty to their belief-based teachers. So instead of actually realizing they were lied to, they pass on the teaching as though it was true. I saw a clip from today's Majority Report episode. Matt, the engineer, was saying something. He's been doing some good reflection lately, that these ICE people suffered kind of violence from their own parental figures, and instead of challenging that, they're acting as though it's true by playing it out on others. Hey, if I suffered, you have to suffer. Because if you don't have to suffer, if we can live in a better world where I'm not murdering people I don't like my parents beat me up when I didn't do what they liked, then that means there's no meaning to my suffering.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
This guy had to admit that the people in his life who helped convince him to be a conservative in the first place, parents, clergy, other authority figures, were wrong. Not only was wrong, but lied to him, and that he fell for it. All of that takes so much courage and
courage and character to do that kind of reflection. So, all of these things, while everyone has their own different version, dreams are stupid. Socrates didn't do anything. There was no Parmenides. Understanding is for stupids. Be a Chad and play football, or whatever. They all function the same way. They all have the same source, a pathologos belief about self and reality from childhood that they're identified with and blindly loyal to. The source is the pathologos. And it all has the same end result, to shut down the significance of the dialectic, or to shut down your own learning of the dialectic. So a self-fulfilling prophecy. It starts with the pathologos false belief, plays out a stupid-ass drama that should be boring if you've reflected on enough. It bores you and you can drop it. That ends up with you confirming that ignorant false belief, which is fascinating because what we have been learning is that's called a first and final cause. Reflecting in a diminished way the first and final cause of the self. If our purpose, so here are the 5 causes, first and final, Billy needs a house to live in. There's a blueprints for building the house, the paradigmatic cause. There is a builder, an instrumental cause. He has to engage in an activity or a mean cause, building, and he has to have some materials to build with. So those are the 5 causes. Applied to our purpose, the first and final cause is to know the self. From the self, creation unfolds, and to the self we are to return through our learning. The paradigm, of course, is divine luminosity or being. So the first cause, the first hypothesis. The paradigmatic cause, being. And the next 3 causes fall under the third hypothesis. The instrumental, the dialectic. There's our functioning through the skill we're here to master. The activity is the dialect, so the dialectician, the activity, the dialectic, and the material, a person with courage and character, open to participating. So those 3 are a triad, giving us the third hypothesis, the second hypothesis, and the first hypothesis, the triad or threesome of the self, Socrates called it. But its distortion is the exact same, but the opposite. The first cause is our pathologos, but it's also the final cause because it keeps us trapped in an NPC script in a self-fulfilling prophecy. The paradigm is your false beliefs about reality, goodness, truth. That includes hurting people the way you were hurt. You can function as the bully, as the one doing the activity of bullying, or you could be the bullied, the one being bullied. So we see these fascists who are being manipulated by capitalist tyrants and political tyrants and religious tyrants. It's always the three. Now, they've given away the game. They've given away the game because the American fascist party, the right wing, are trying to pass laws that use AI surveillance to find anyone in social media who have opposed three basic things. Capitalism, there's our oligarchic or economic based fascism, pathologos. Anyone who's opposed to the Trump government, the right wing, and anyone who's opposed religion. The three systems that seek to harm everyone because of the pathologos sadistic impulses of a few and seek to manipulate people to justify this oppression through belief. We can't be blind to it because it's written in black and white by the fascists. So, the pathologos sufferers, the people who've grown up under oppressive systems, the religiously oppressed, the children who have been oppressed with their family, violent, sexist cultures and families, seek to engage in an activity of harm. The people at the top and the people who become their foot soldiers, so they can be the sit in daddy's chair or be the instrumental cause of the pathologos, so we can understand the truth and its opposite in the 5 causes. 1, 2, 3, and there's 5 causes in the truth or it's false, and the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 causes based on simply applying each of those causes to the logos or the pathologos. One giving you the true, one giving you the false. One giving you a 5-cause simple understanding of the functioning and nature and purpose of all problems. The first cause of human problems, the paradigm of human problems, how people function in human problems, the activity of human problems, and who it is inflicted upon of human problems, and the final result of human problems is simply taking these 5 causes, applying it to the pathologos. It's just that simple, it seems. Equally so, our purpose is exactly the same thing applied to the logos, the self-logos. There is a logos of self that is the first cause that unfolds into the highest expression of the self-logos through ousia or being. That functions of the self-logos through understanding, providence, most highly dreams. The activity we can engage in, therefore, is through the self-logos or the dialectic. So our instrumental cause is to use the self-logos as a dialectician, and the activity of the dialectic as souls, minds, or self, 3, 2, 1, receptive to the dialectic of the self-logos. So it's just that simple. But notice, if the self-logos is our purpose and what we need to solve problems and reach excellence, there has to be some self-defense mechanism of the pathologos expression of these 5 causes. That's why every single one of them opposes the logos. That's why it doesn't matter who comes in. If they're not coming in here with curiosity and a desire to learn, if they come in here and the first thing they do is just vomit up their stupid ass opinions I think Socrates is stupid. I think Parmenides is dumb. I think there's no truth. Then they're not open and curious to the self-logos. They're not the material cause. They are the material cause of the pathologos, meaning they're in that script of those 5 causes that function or result in the rejection of the dialectic. So it's fascinating that the nature of human problems is following the same structure of the logos, only applied to the pathologos, and not the self-logos. So the first and final cause of the self, returned to through the mastery of the logos, the self-logos, therefore. There's our dialectic. Not the one self, but the self-logos, which would include the one self, of course. Because one is one of the logos terms. So is good, so is true. Therefore, if we see that those 5 causes... Oops. Expressed in the positive side, the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth hypothesis, if our movement from our human ignorance through our functioning in opposition to our benefit, loyalty to the belief, which does give us what we need to solve our problems or see the negative reflection of the self-logos, through to the dialectic, mind, and to the self. If this is the progression of the self, so too we could look at anything that rejects those stages of development, the 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th hypothesis, as themselves being a self-fulfilling prophecy to the pathologos self. So therefore we can add the 10th hypothesis as the inverse or the denial of the first hypothesis. The pathologos' false idea of the self as the first or final cause, the self-fulfilling prophecy. And we can therefore understand each of these as not only the denial of the positive, but the way you deny, well, what did we say functions to deny the self-logos? Pathologos. Tenth hypothesis, therefore, can be seen in one way, not exactly the same, but similar to the 5 causes of human problems or the pathologos. So in the same way you could deny the second hypothesis, the 6th hypothesis, hey, I want a principle of reality that can unify our world. But I don't think it should be based on the mind itself. I don't think there's a non-physical expression of principles. I don't think there is a self-logos itself. I think we just need to put our heads together and come up with Marxism or socialism or something like that. That's the highest expression of unity if we deny the self-logos. Just like the 5th hypothesis, sure, it's not actually in the self-logos yet, but remember, it's an analogy, it's not identical, it's similar. So you can use the 5 causes to say, well, actually that 5th hypothesis does assume there is a self-logos, but it's just nothing to do with us, disconnected. There's no mind-body connection. So give up. Now we have been using this 5th hypothesis or strict dualism in a more general sense to include all of these, materialism, reductionism, nihilism, all the ways you can deny mind. But more formally within the hypotheses, this is a kind of rejection of the self-logos that admits it exists, but has nothing to do with us. Whereas these hypotheses say that doesn't even exist. We're just stardust, nothing exists, or we're just physical things, or we're just chemicals, or we're just as Socrates said, it's just a battleground between good and evil. There's no meaning, there's no learning, there's no development. So there's two kinds of ways that we've been looking at this fifth hypothesis. Equally so, we could take all of these false beliefs and say that they're all kinds of beliefs. So they would all be expressions of a fourth hypothesis, if fourth is belief. So there's a more general way we can see that these are the two natures of ignorance that incorporate all of these, but we can break them down more formally as Parmenides does, to give us these four causes, which could be the material that rejects the self-logos, the activity, the functioning, and the paradigm, all in opposition to the self-logos. What's the functioning in opposition to our benefit, our purpose, the self-logos? The pathologos. Therefore, the task that we've been given in the book to find the missing 10th hypothesis of the Parmenides, we can put here as the idea of the pathologos, the antithesis of the first hypothesis, self-logos, or oneself. So isn't that neat? Hooray. So we've added to the Parmenides. Good for us.
It's a guy whose head appears to be on backwards, and then a half lady.
I'm always good, and that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
So we're doing some good here. So, 10 hypotheses now we can say, but we have some puzzles. If we have seen that there is a class of philosopher that stands above the others who have seen the significance of dream analysis, and that includes Socrates, and that wasn't included in Parmenides, we can say, is there an 11th hypothesis? If the 10th is the pathologos, is there an 11th above the first? And just for fun, could there be a 12th? So that's what we've seen so far from this book. That's a goddamn banger. And fun. So, one of those elements that we've been saying that can even help our questions about the 11th and 12th hypothesis is part of the dialectic is sharing it. We couldn't be participating if Pierre Grimes didn't master the truth about the dialectic, master midwifery, see the significance and necessity of dream analysis, and share all of that in this book. There's our 4 stages. Def, Dem, Div, and Conk. There's you. We wouldn't be here. We would be stuck in the inevitable fate of the implications of Aristotle's rejection of mind and self, 5th hypothesis, and Emperor Fuckface McGee, Emperor Justinian, the founder of the Christian tradition.
Dude, suck my dick.
Who can, well, if he wishes.
Cunt's a little fucking bitch.
That's more
And
like
you just blow in from Stupid Town.
He's the mayor of Stupid Town. So, the 4th hypothesis, belief. The 5th hypothesis, rejection of the dialectic. The implication would be, if this is our modern education, if this is what philosophy is passed off as today, it also is what politics is passed off as today, and so even you have the left wing and the right wing, both are in ignorance. Religion is ignorance in the fourth. People who leave religion just to be atheists, that's a state of ignorance. Extinction. Perpetual human suffering and ignorance leading to the inevitable fate of human extinction. If we think that there's a value in human life, if we think there's a value in humanity as a species, if there's a part for humanity to play within a greater whole, we might want to stop human extinction from happening. And the only reason why we can get out of it is because there is a different timeline. So this is the timeline that happens after we killed Socrates. But there's another one, this timeline, where we read this book. This book is a goddamn banger. It's a banger.
The primary purpose of peanuts is not to
Peanuts?
murder, it's to eat for sustenance.
I thought
If you
so.
don't know, now you know.
Now you know about peanuts. So therefore, the significance of sharing it. So that's why one of the big puzzles in the book is, when we do want to share our understanding and vision, how do we do it? Well, we don't want to be like those people that we mentioned who just drop in and drop their stupid ass opinions, all of which are function in opposition to the very thing we're doing. It's people who rock up at a basketball game and say, basketball's stupid. People who show up at a comic convention, comics for dorks. People who participate in society and say, I'm a fascist right-winger. I think ICE is good. You're living. You're at place of earth. What the fuck are you doing supporting fascists, whether it's capitalism, right-wing politics, or religion? You're here. You're supposed to be playing. All of those things are in opposition to your fucking game. So, how do we communicate it in a different way? That's what I encourage the chatter from today to do. Can you phrase it as a dialectic? Because dialectic brings everyone on board. You can start off with here's my definition. Here's the idea itself. Self in relation to itself, just what it is. If we're on board already, oh yeah, we've covered that. Now go on to your next point. If we don't, can you give an example of why that's true? Demonstrate that. Oh, here's a demonstration. Rather, oh yeah, now I get it, we move on. Or I don't get it. Okay, let's break it down into its divisions, other to other, and show the step-by-steps of reasoning, stages of reasoning, to show why there's a necessary or beautiful conclusion, why it has to be true, or why its opposition ends in contradiction or absurdity. Therefore, from this reflection, we can come together mutually in a conclusion that we can use to relate back to the self, back to the self in a new way. We've gained an insight. That's how you share your vision. If you can't do this, then you're ignorant. You don't have a way of communicating or understanding your own vision. How do you test your vision? How do you share your vision? And for each of these stages, you can do the dialectic. For instance, today's chatter who said Socrates is a ripoff. All right, that's a definition. But don't just say that. Socrates is a ripoff. Give that. And then show because of this thing that happens. Therefore, you should be doing this or you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be reading this channel. You should be playing Call of Duty. You shouldn't be reading this book or participating in this reflection. Therefore, how does that conclude? Now, if he were able to reason because he wasn't lied to by whoever lied to him about Socrates, he would be able to do this and see the conclusion is this dialectic which Socrates learnt from Parmenides that we can read ourselves, not ripping off fucking anyone. You just read it as a conversation. What does it mean to be ripped off someone? What does that even mean? 2 and 2 is 4. You ripped off Billy who learnt that last year. That's Billy's idea. No, it's a true principle of reality. 2 and 2 is always equal 4. You can't rip anything off. But if we did, if it isn't true, if it's just a rip-off or whatever, I don't know what he's trying to say, hasn't learned to think yet, then don't do the dialectic. The very meaning of life, the mean term for our education, evolution, spiritual development, social policies, and the development and perfection of our soul as well. Don't do the thing I was born to do. Now, if he can see that, because he's able to communicate, because he's been listening to the channel and reading along, then we can ask the next question, why? If the opposition to the literal thing that we're all here to do as the meaning of life, the only activity that brings lasting change and benefit, if your conclusion is to not do the thing that benefits you and humanity, where the fuck did you learn that? Because, as the Oracle says...
There's only 2 options at the end of an argument.
No, not that one.
I'm always good.
No,
and that is what I stand for.
True,
the problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
Say it slower.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
That's why she's the Oracle of the soundboard. It's an irrational position because it ends in the absurdity. It uses thinking or reasoning, which is the dialectic, to deny the activity of doing the dialectic, learning the dialectic, mastering the dialectic, and unslavifying yourself so you can think for yourself and use the thing you've got. I've got a skateboard, but I don't want to learn how to use it. I'm going to be like one of those little dogs that sit on the back of the skateboard when somebody else does it. I'm a little bitch to the right wing, to religion, to capitalism, to my parents and grandparents. Slavery, to be ruled by the worst. It's absurd to use thinking to deny thinking. It's like saying, writing in a book, you should ban all books. Or the right wing, you should vote for me so I can remove the government. What? Or religion. Listen to this book that tells you never read books and never read this book properly. Billionaires. If you work hard, then you can get rich like me, and everything I do with my wealth is to make sure you can never get rich by me. I'll become rich like me, because that's what rich means more than others. So, if you are able to communicate your thoughts, whatever they are, using just a basic understanding of the dialectic, you will see the conclusions that follow that show an absurdity, like every single person who's come in here with this kind of state of mind. They all end in a conclusion, don't do the dialectic. What's the dialectic? Thinking. What was their way of communicating that? Through thinking. They used an argument to show don't do arguments. Just suffer. So that would be also the conclusion. Don't do the dialectic, which would also result in, because you can see that there are 2 elements. There's the synthesis and analysis. Synthesized and don't do dialectic. How do you relate back to the self as a result? Suffering. Why? Because suffering is when you're blocked from your purpose to master the self logos, to know the self. It's suffering because you can't learn from your mistakes. You can go to the dentist and have pain, but you do it for some benefit. You fix your teeth. If there's no benefit to the suffering to the pain that you're experiencing, in the problems you're experiencing, in any division of your life, then it's suffering. The result of anything that opposes, and even if it's Beefgate 2025, when I was unjustly banned from Twitch chat of the majority of
Freaks.
by those freaks.
If you're experiencing a mental health episode, we don't want to see that.
The mental health episodes of the moderators.
They're ruining the internet with all this trash.
And then they're ruining internet with trash. It's everywhere. It's everywhere for anyone who has not started the game that we're playing here. What's everywhere? Human functioning trapped in the fate causes, the first and final cause, self-fulfilling prophecy of the pathologo self, following a model, following an a functioning in an activity as a material cause to oppose the dialectic and self-logos. The consequential conclusion being stuck in slavery to ignorance, suffering. That's the human condition until you realize something. And that's what we've been learning with Socrates. Something, he encountered something. For him it was music that showed that there is actually something intelligible. There is some understanding that can be used in order to create something beautiful, music. Then that made him open to reason itself. You can understand things and reflect on the self. That understanding and self-reflection made him open to learning the dialectic from Parmenides. How can that be a rip-off? Back to the chatter who said, oh, he ripped off. What's that? These are universal principles that we are looking for, universal principles of what opens us up to the game, considering from childhood we are trained, indoctrinated to oppose the dialectic and self-logos. And ICE, fascism, capitalism, tyranny, and the inevitable destruction of humanity and extinction of our race is what happens if you stay stuck in our pathologos programming and don't read the books we are reading here. And we have fun.
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder, dude?
And we have funny sound drops.
Hey man, wouldn't some kind of future where people have all their whatever basic needs met of shelter, all this crap, and they could do whatever the hell they want, wouldn't that be good? No.
Like literally suck my dick, dude.
You're a baby.
You sick fuck.
See, it's fun. Plus the book is fun. So, that's reasoning. To be able to present whatever ignorant belief you came in with. It's not a shame game. I'm not blaming you for being in ignorance. You're just starting the game. But to be able to present it with this structure we're learning leads you to the conclusion, therefore, dreams are stupid, Socrates is stupid, Parmenides is stupid, philosophy is stupid, whatever it is people come in with, leads to the conclusion that don't do the dialectic. And if they know enough about the dialectic, or because we know enough about the dialectic, we can say, and what's the conclusion or the result from that? Perpetual suffering and ignorance. How will that play out in your reincarnations? You will have to suffer in your next life the implications of the injustices that you continue to do without reflection here. So it plays out negatively in this life, in your suffering. How does it play out for humanity? Your relationships stink. You don't reach your goals. Humanity ends. How does that play out in your reincarnations? But also, See, that's a kind of way of seeing. Therefore, because of these terrible conclusions, your original premise, this is the other back to self, is false. Another way of seeing it's false is the absurdity of its inherent contradiction. Oh, so you're using arguments to reject arguments? You're using your words to reject learning how to use words? If the dialectic is the use of words, understanding, thinking, and arguments, if your conclusion is don't use that and you've used words to communicate it, if you've used an argument to communicate it, if you've used thinking to communicate it, it's stupid, it's crazy, it's self-contradictory, self-defeating. See the absurdity? To reject the dialectic is to use thinking to reject thinking. The next question is why? What happens if you never think for yourself? What happens if you've bought this wonderful new jet ski, but you fail to understand how to use it? That guy who tricked you, hey, don't learn to use a jet ski, just let me ride the jet ski and you can sit at the back every time. Why does he do that? Why do religious people, authorities say, hey, don't learn to understand God? Just come to my church and give me money and let me tell you what to do. I'm the only one who knows how to ride the jet ski. Why do the right-wing politicians go after education and try and own all the media so they can lie to everybody? Don't you understand how foreign policy works and how the economy works? Just let me do it. Oh, and so I can take all the trillions and trillions of dollars and kill all the people that I get a sadistic kick out of. They want to ride the jet ski. So they trick you never to learn how to ride the jet ski, to make you completely in a childlike state of dependence, like the child in the Pathologos origin scene. We accept the bullshit of our parents because we're too young to master the dialectic to ask questions, but mainly because we're stuck with these assholes. Now, I shouldn't say assholes. Assholes serve an important function. Not all the time. Of course, some parents make lunch and whatever do this, but every parent inflicts the pathologos onto them. The best we can do is read the books we are reading. So let's go back into our actual purpose to free ourselves from our problems. The best we can do is seek self-improvement. That's our soul being a receptive material cause to the logos. So whether you've discovered that there is some meaning or purpose or understandability from music, from skateboarding, from reading some interesting books, from going to school and I learned how to do this. Maybe if there's these guys learning chemistry and these guys learning physics and these guys learning calculus, could there be a higher kind of understanding that is the cause of all of them? Or it could be from a direct experience using the ox herding pictures, the glimpse of an ox. You've had an out-of-body or meditative or mushroom experience of something higher than the physical world, or more profound. You've had a profound insight, higher than regular understanding. You've had a glimpse into the future. You've had some form of foresight or prophecy, deja vu experience. Holy crap, there is something higher going on here. However you've become aware of some higher intelligibility or logos, use it to benefit yourself. That's character. That's the practice of the virtues. That's self-improvement. Because to do that, you will have to read about the logos. That's the start of the game, a receptive soul to the logos, to following and being mastered or following the logos. The activity of learning the logos is what we do here, reading.
Hey man, wouldn't some...
That's the more holes.
These absolute dullards, borderline chimps.
Dude, suck my dick.
I need to get some nice... Okay. I know, I'll fix the soundboard, don't worry about it. Sometimes when I want a positive one, I end up with a negative one.
Hey, you can't say that to her. You show her some respect.
I apologize. So, the activity, reading, our functioning, half the time on the channel or more, we're reflecting on our reading to put the pieces together. Reflecting on our reading. Reflecting on the intelligibility, sharing our highest vision and understanding from our reading and our receptiveness. See the first three causes, the bricks receptive to the building from the builder, soul seeking the logos, and the activity of reading the logos and our functioning of reflecting on it to discover that there's a model to the logos and these books, the dialectic, the paradigm. There's our dialectic. There is a skill of reading if we follow the dialectic. There is a pattern to the virtues we call the dialectic. There is a way of functioning or reflecting with our friends, sharing our ideas, called the dialectic. So the model of the dialectic is how we function as souls ideally. It's how we engage in the activities we do ideally, like reading, and how we become receptive or learn, or receptive to providence. So how do we reach out to providence so we are touched? Now, we can apply these to all things. Now, we've been using this as a progression. Now that we've learned the model of the dialectic, now the final cause, we are a soul interested in mind, making us a pregnant soul, or a mind, as now we're in the level of mind, a mind as a receptive cause to the activity of that dialectic, learning to function not as reflecting on our reading, but to function as a dialectician, realizing that there is a eighth oxiding picture, second hypothesis, direct experience of the paradigm of the dialectic, the self-logos all at once. Now we are, by the way, we learn through our reading that is a reflection of the source or self. Now we've got upgraded from mind to self. Hey, if there's such a thing as self, and if that's the highest term, we want to be a self receptive to the highest kind of dialectician, the dream analysis, our dream maker. So a soul receptive to the logos in reading, a mind receptive to the dialectic in midwifery, and a self receptive to our dream maker in dream analysis. That's the development. But whether it's reading, midwifery, or dialectic, or dream analysis, they're all activities of the dialectic. Whether we are a soul seeking our excellence, seeking the excellence of our mind or intelligence, or seeking the excellence to know the authentic self, we are all seeking to be open, curious, or receptive to the dialectic, to the logos. The dialectic is how we become receptive. If we can think through the dialectic, this is the kind of learning that changes you. It's not rote like at school, like you learn, I dream of the apocalypse a lot. Okay, well, the more you understand how to do the dialectic, the more you'll be able to unpack the meaning of your dreams and get the message your dreams are screaming at you. It's not screaming, it's keeping our cool. I'm using that as a metaphor to say how important and how urgent these dreams are. If you're dreaming about the apocalypse, it could be your mind saying, hey, you've got to pay attention. Learn this dialectic, figure out a way of applying it to your dreams, and listen to what your guru is telling you. Or don't, and suffer the consequences in your dreams of the apocalypse and play out the problems and suffering in your life. Or have fun and pay attention. It's the funnest game. So whether it's a soul, mind, or self, receptive to the logos through the activity of the dialectic, becoming the greatest kind of functioning ourselves, sharing what we've been reading, doing the dialectic or midwifery with others, and doing dream analysis on yourself or others, recognizing that the ultimate model is the self-logos itself, so that we can ultimately return to the source or the self, having a soul perfected by the self-logos, a mind perfected by the self-logos, and returning to the self with this art of the self-logos. So we could take these 3 levels of development that human beings go through and unify them with the self-logos. The 5 causes. Whatever you are, soul, mind, self, receptive to the self-logos, that's the dialectic. In the activity of developing, that's the dialectic. The functioning of the self-logos, that's the dialectician. The model of the self-logos, that's seeing the self-logos inherent within pure mind, second hypothesis, 8th oxiding picture, or seeing the self-logos inherent in the self. So the whole purpose, or that for the sake of which you've gone through, seems to be to realize that whatever you have leadership over, be receptive to the dialectic. Whatever you do, if you've got cancer and dying, you only got 5 minutes left, do the dialectic activity. If you meet for friends over coffee, I've got no coffee, I'm out of milk, so this is my pre-workout. The gym was too busy. It's packed this morning. The functioning is as a dialectician, whether you're looking at your dreams, you're looking at your problems, you're looking at whatever skill you're mastering in music. The model is to see the self-logos or dialectic structure inherent in the physical world with soul, the world of becoming, physical world, the world of pure being, if you're able to separate your senses into the single sense or the eye of the soul. Can you see the dialectic structure of the self-logos inherent within mind? Or if you do get all the way back to the source, the 9th oxiding picture, can you see the self-logos and dialectic structure inherent in the self? So that when you return back to the source, you're not just knowing the self, you've got this, you're seeing the inherent self-logos and dialectic inherent in you. The inherent intelligibility of the self that you may not have discovered had you not unfolded into all of the levels of creation and reincarnation, only to return having discovered the purpose of intelligent life is to discover and master the self-logos inherent within yourself. That's the dialectic. So you return with an art in your back pocket. Necessarily. Now, everything we've just said is a dialectic on the meaning of life, or of all life being the mastery of the dialectic. But you could take the opposite. What if we are not here to learn? What if we just suffer things and there's no intelligence? There's no learning. There's no mastery. There's no evolution. Can you, if you remove the self-logos or its skillful use, the dialectic, what kind of reality would we be in? Just as we did with these other chatters who come in with haterade. That's my gift to you. That's my, activity you can do. Create a universe that takes any of the things we've said and rejects the self-logos. You will see the absurdities that follow. You will see the tragic consequences that follow. Now, it's important for you to do it so it's your own, so you can see through it. The more you practice the dialectic, the more you can see through it, which is what we've just said is the literal purpose and meaning of life. And that includes what happens in a universe where Spider-Man doesn't get bitten by the spider. So this is the universe if mythological representation. This is what if Spider-Man is bitten by the spider, if we can develop our excellence. But just take the self-logos / dialectic out and create that universe too. Doing both is important. And we did a bit of a taste of that when we pushed the implication of the haters who come in and say, you shouldn't do dialectic. My daddy told me that, blah, 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 blah. Well, Held message for a reason. Spammer. Spam.
But you shut up. You shut the hell up for a second. You're not real.
You're not real, you're a spammer.
And this is spam. You need to flood these platforms with fake people.
It's better to come in the sink than to sink in the cum.
Oh my goodness. Do you get trolls sometimes? Not very often. But we've had about, I don't know, a half dozen. But what we have been doing today is seeing that every single one of them are saying the same thing. See, this is the negative side of the dialectic. They all come up with some premise, but they can't see it. They can't see their own ignorance and how they're harming themselves because they haven't learnt the dialectic. All they know how to do is say the original premise. Like today we had someone that said Socrates was a, what was it? Conner or rip-off. Oh, I'm behind. Maybe that's why there are so much apocalyptical theories in religion. Ooh, that's not, I like that. We as a collective unconscious have been looking forward to the end for a long time. Interesting. Yes, the inevitable conclusion, like fate, if you do not address your pathologos, it will end in destruction. That's the whole Jesus story. God, you've abandoned me. No, you didn't reflect on your beliefs. You idiot.
Calm your fucking tits.
Calm your tits. But also, if our dreams are giving us these messages, hey, pay attention to your purpose, to learn. Hey, don't you think? Don't you imagine? Don't you reason? By the way, what's the skill of imagining and reasoning? The dialectic. Why aren't you learning it? You've got this jet ski. Why don't you learn how to ride it? Oh no, my daddy said I shouldn't learn how to... My dad was like this. I loved to play golf, but he wouldn't let me play. He had to do the one doing the playing. I had to be the caddy for a while until I saw through his shit. You've got this jet ski, you can't ride it, but I will ride it, says the preacher, says the capitalist. There's this an economy, you can't have trillions of dollars, I will have the trillions of dollars, and you can do what I say, otherwise you will be lazy. Clean my pool. The right wing. You can't have a society that benefits you. Build my ballroom. Any religious authority. You can't know the nature of God, only I can. Let me ride the jet ski. Do as I say, not as I do. Exactly. And part of excellence of the dialectic is to help people through the dialectic, dream analysis, the dialectic to help people solve their problems, midwifery, the dialectic to help them with their reading, philosophy. There's the three: philosophy, midwifery, and dream analysis. But as they go through it, you encourage them not just to follow along, but to reflect, ousia, on the process they're going through. And by the way, if they're doing dream analysis, their dreams will say, if you're not reading, which is how you become a master dialectician, you learn to ride the jet ski, start reading. In other words, the true use of human functioning, or the dialectic, helps others become like you. We're reading about Socrates and we're becoming like Socrates. Socrates is talking about his teacher Parmenides, and we're becoming like Parmenides. So anyone who says, like you're saying, do as I say, not as I do, is fucking scamming you. Any trillionaire who's not trying to make everyone equally rich, wealth equality, is a scammer. Every politician who says you don't have power, just me, is scamming you. If you are an apprentice mechanic and your mechanical master says, hey, you don't understand why the gasket goes on the carburetor, just believe me, is scamming you. That's why The fascists in the American government with ICE are saying, let's go through social media and see anyone who's anti-capitalism, anyone who's anti-right-wing, and anyone who's anti-religion, and send ICE to their house. Because all of these systems are systems where it's based on you believe, we be in charge. No understanding. It's a hierarchical system of dominance and oppression based on belief. Now, if that's the world we live in, then like you're saying, everyone's probably getting dreams saying, this is a tragedy, pay attention to what you're here for. You've got a jet ski, you've got imagination, Usia, you've got reasoning, thinking. Use it. Learn to ride the jet ski. If you don't, these fascists who are equally fucking stupid themselves will claim to be leaders. ICE is nothing other than the implications of the worst souls claiming rulership over the better. It's topsy-turvy. So yes, we're probably having lots of dreams about apocalypses, and instead of actually listening or unpacking the meaning of your dreams, because they're not literal, you can only participate in providence if you're the material receptive cause, first cause, you need bricks to build with, who is listening through the dialectic. That's how you listen to your dreams. It's not what you think the dreams mean. You're listening, you're open, you're curious. So the trolls that come in, they're not curious. They have all the answers, apparently. The Dunning-Kruger effect. Why would the dreams be telling us something we already know? Our job is to be receptive. The activity cause, the building with the bricks, is to apply the dialectic to your dreams. As a result, you can be the functioning or instrumental cause. You can be a dialectician to help others through their dreams. And you can see your world through the dialectic. Thinking properly, mastering the logos. You can recognize then, if you can reflect on that. Hang on a second. If I'm able to become a master of the logos, master dialectician, master my purpose and art as a human, is there a model or paradigm cause? What's the source of this? That's seeing the dialectic inherent in mind or being. The direct experience of that is the second hypothesis or the eighth oxiding picture. Hype ox. But even that necessitates a cause. That's our ultimate purpose, or the first and final cause, or that for the sake of which you've heard of NSFW, not safe for work.
Wrong. Oh my fuck.
But this is TFSW, that for the sake of which. Which is to return to the source or self with this art of the dialectic, to see the inherent self logos and to function through the dialectic according to the inherent dialectical structure and self logos nature of your own self. And our question is, how is that like our dream maker? And every hater who comes in starts with some premise Like today, Socrates is a ripoff. That's his definition. If he can think the dialectic, he would start with definition. That's different color. He would start with the idea itself or definition. Socrates is bad. Ripoff, whatever. A few weeks ago, we had someone saying Parmenides is bad. It was made up. Before that, someone said, oh, dreams have no meaning. A few days ago, somebody said, what? I don't think he had this position, but it's a common one, so it was worth reflecting on. What if there is no truth, everything is opinion? Now, how does that function? Again, they haven't learnt the dialectic. Why not? Keep that in mind. How would that function? Yeah, hate is going to hate. But we're understanding the nature and reason of hate and how they can remove the hate. How can they not drink the haterade? How does that function? If Socrates was a ripoff or whatever, what does that mean? The texts that we're reading here don't read. What would happen in our life if we weren't reading these texts? So, other to other. If that's what we're doing, if we're living a life functioning in that way, no dialectic, no mastery of your own thinking, no ability to reach your highest purpose, no participation in the true learning model, because that's the dialectic. No participation in spirituality, because that's the dialectic. No participation in evolution, because that's the dialectic. No ability to solve political problems, because that's the dialectic. No ability to solve economic problems, because that's the dialectic. And no ability to evolve into a higher way as soul, because that's the dialectic. So those are all the... So you notice divisions could go two ways. It could go, what if it is? And what if it isn't? So if we did agree with him, so all of those things, no soul development, no learning. But what if we didn't? If we didn't listen? We could participate, we could learn for ourselves, we could overcome our problems, but also our evolution wouldn't be bad. We could overcome our suffering, our problems. Therefore, as a conclusion, what happens? Other back to self. How do we relate back to the self? Ignorance, suffering, enslavement. They are repeating the same bullshit they learnt from childhood to become a slave of their parents. But notice, they all function to reject the dialectic. So if we look at this division stage, we can see why they would be able to see for themselves. Sure, maybe Socrates was ripped off, but we're just building off the other. Well, you can't really say he ripped anything off. It's like if he discovered the dialectic and he went through a stage of learning it, is he ripping it off? If you learned 2 + 2 is 4, and then you taught a math class, are you ripping someone off? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't apply. You learnt something. It's not rip off, it's learning. There's an inherent purpose to life to master the dialectic, and Socrates went through stages in life to discover this and learnt from his teacher and then passed it on. That's literally what we're here for. That's our purpose. That's not ripping anything off. Doesn't make sense. But the thing with the dialectic is that's how we can come to see which is the right argument. Because if we take his, remember, division, he can't do this because he hasn't learnt the dialectic. We are seeing why whoever convinced him of this stupid argument to begin with is doing so that results in his ignorance and slavery because he is unable to learn the dialectic. But if the dialectic is nothing other than how we ride our own jet ski, how we use words, how we use arguments, how we think, and how we learn, if he says, I have learnt that you shouldn't learn, in other words, if any of your arguments, and all of these haters say the same thing, they're rejecting the logos, which means the dialectic. If they say, I learnt to not learn, that doesn't make sense. They can have that's what comedy is. Comedy is pushing the implications of this absurd argument to show that it breaks down when applied to itself. I learnt that you shouldn't learn. In the chat, I was saying that no to that math question. Yeah. You're not copying someone by saying 2 + 2 is 4. You've learned it. It's great. It's a part of reality. Rip off seems like you're trying to own something. I invented that. You can't sell it to make money. The whole purpose is to share our learning. That's part of it. That's what an evolutionary product is, building on ideas or memes. Yeah. So not only is he discovering something, Socrates will add his own spin. And like what we are doing here, we are adding to the tradition. We are finding the place for dreams. The highest place. So if he's saying, I'm using my words to say that you shouldn't use words properly, that's absurd. Because that's what the dialectic is, the use of words. Artfully, skillfully. I'm using my mind to say you should be stupid, doesn't make sense. I'm using an argument to say that you shouldn't master arguments. Companies be copywriting AI-generated songs. What kind of bullshit is that? Exactly. This whole idea of hoarding resources or hoarding information or hoarding technology or using it to further hoard wealth is absurd. That's the same thing. I get all the money or get all the rulership or get all the can speak for God. You guys have to be ignorant and just believe me. So this is it. I'm using thinking to say you shouldn't think. Now he doesn't know that his idea Socrates was a ripoff leads to that because he hasn't learned to think. That's why he's a stupid, no, that's a bit harsh, a savage, blindly loyal to the bullshit that keeps himself ignorant. Like someone who says, I'm going to die for Christianity. Christianity is hurting you. It's killing you. And instead of waking up, you're going to kill the non-believers. If they could think, they would see the absurdity of their position, and therefore every single hater has the same end result or conclusion. The vision is dialectic, no. So, dialectic. The conclusion is what? Slavery? Ignorance? Suffering. Therefore, if they were able to present their own idea or catchphrase that they're repeating from childhood, they would see that they are defending their own suffering, ignorance, and slavery. And if they did get into the texts that they can't get into so long as they stay loyal to this ignorance, they would see that this doesn't just play out in their own lives, it plays out in their reincarnations as well. So they might want to fucking start paying attention to the books that they're saying we shouldn't pay attention to. Just all the same. So the next question is, if they are actively acting in this absurd way, notice, to deny the dialectic is absurd, because dialectic is just the skillful use of words, language, thinking, imagination, questions, answers, and arguments. And they're using their imagination, their words, their thinking, their arguments to deny it. So it's absurd, stupid, comedic if they get out of it, but also results in their slavery, ignorance, and suffering. Why? When I was skateboarding, and if somebody told me, hey, this is how you do a kickflip in a way where you never land it and you break your ankles, I'd be like, why the fuck would I want to learn that? No, because that's team blue team. That's team Andersons. We Andersons kick flipping this way. Or we're the Mormons. We kick flipping. Why? In other words,
I'm always good, and that is what I stand for.
Wait. This one.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
This is an irrational position, so it can't have been reasoned into. So we have to find who was the source and why was it believable. Now, if you've gone through this level of reflection, even a haterade, this could be the waking point, the turning point in your whole life, to see you've been blindly loyal to a absurd division, belief that functions demonstration in a way that blocks you from the greatest activities you're learning and leads to a conclusion of your own suffering. And it started with you saying it like it was a true definition, a false belief that you're loyal to. As a leftist, Trump considers me an enemy. Exactly. You're an enemy of the state if you think, because thinking is the logos. That's why they say anyone anti-capitalist, anti-right-wing, or anti-religion is an enemy of the state. You're not an enemy of the state. You're enemy to the pathologos. It's not a political party. It's a pathologos party. Now, this individual member of such a party, if they see that they are their definition, their whole life has been around defending this ignorant idea that blocks them from their functioning, that leads to this absurd conclusion, don't do the dialectic, that concludes in their own slavery, ignorance, and suffering, that could be like the apocalypse dream. Oh my fuck, time to wake up.
Kant's a little fucking bitch.
I've been a little fucking bitch.
Unbelievable sluts these days.
I love this guy.
I better find out why I've been trapped in this zombie-like slavery. Okay, calm down.
It's a win-win.
Calm down.
Fuck.
Fuck, calm down. But notice, if he hasn't gone through this only four stages of dialectical reflection on his opinion he started with, he would not wake up to his soul's purpose, journey, and destiny. Just like if you have an apocalyptic dream, you will just experience it like he just experienced his opinions, but unless you apply the dialectic to it, you will not wake up to the purpose the apocalyptic dream served. It's warning you about your own negative beliefs, state of minds, functioning, and conclusions. It's warning you about a dialectic you are stuck in that's absurd, tragic, comedic, and nothing other than a message to wake you up. So every single hater is doing the same thing, opposing in whatever flavor they've got their own purpose, the dialectic, and saying, hey, don't learn the dialectic. It's all opinions. It's all perspective. It's all nothing, which is nothing other than a slave to their own slavery. They're their own prison wardens to their own prison. By definition. And they can't see it unless they learn the dialectic. But they can't see it themselves because it blocks them from their dialectic. That's why they're all the same. Therefore, there needs to be someone else who's gone through this process that can lead them through the dialectic to help them wake up to the fact their whole life has been blocking the dialectic and their purpose is to learn the dialectic. Someone who's learned to kickflip. Someone who's learned how to ride a jet ski. Therefore, Our purpose is ourselves to be receptive as a material cause to the dialectic, to engage in this activity as we just did with him, even though he wasn't here, or us with our dreams, so that we can function as a dialectician ourselves, to help others through the journey. And as we do that, we can perfect our own seeing and functioning, which opens us up to the model or paradigm cause that there is a dialectic or self-logos structure to intelligence itself, through which providence functions through the dialectic. And then ultimately ask the question, what's the source of that model or paradigm, or what's that for the sake of which? You've heard of not safe for work, naughty pictures, but this is TSFW, not NSFW, but TFSW, that for the sake of which.
Absolutely gooped.
And that was a gooped joke.
Like literally suck my dick, dude.
Oh my goodness. So, the significance of sharing it, the significance of functioning as a dialectician, and showing that the dialectic art, the use of thinking, reasoning, language, whatever, not only perfects our excellence in these 5 positive hypotheses or causes, but can free us from our ignorance by seeing it traps us in the 5 negative causes or hypotheses. And notice, if he followed along because he was an open, receptive material cause, he wasn't, no, I don't want to learn anything. I want to pretend to be a knower like my daddy and my president. If he was actually open to reason through it, he wouldn't have to believe anything. Because every step of the way, these conclusions he would see from them for himself and an agreement. Hey, by the way, what's your definition? Don't read Socrates. Great. How will that function if we're reading the texts from Socrates? Well, we shouldn't read those texts. All right, so we're in agreement. Next stage. By the way, if these texts are what we need to read to discover the inherent intelligibility of the Logos, to discover there is a dialectic, and also in reading we're not interpreting, we are understanding, which is the practice of the dialectic. And by the way, as we read, we hear time and time again that the dialectic is our method or activity or mean term. What would that mean if we're not reading those texts? Well, then you can't learn the dialectic then. Great. And if the dialectic is how we remove our problems that keep us stuck in slavery, ignorance, or suffering, what does that mean? Well, I guess you're stuck in ignorance, slavery, and suffering then. Great. What do you think about your definition? You then relate back to your definition. Does it make sense? Well, no, that conclusion is terrible. Well, actually, let's go back from the conclusion and say, hang on a second, not just its conclusion is terrible, that's a good reason for waking up and turning yourself around, but even the reasoning. If the dialectic is nothing other than the use of arguments, or the use of imagination and reasoning, were you using an imagination and reasoning to communicate? Yeah. So you were using imagination and reasoning, or thinking, to say you shouldn't learn how to do thinking, imagination, and reasoning? Is that crazy? Oh yeah, it's funny. Ha 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 ha. Good, you've turned yourself around and you've had a laugh. Only if he was willing to go through it. But at every step of the way, the very pathologos that he's attached to might stick up its ugly head and say, give up. Don't do it. Don't listen to this weirdo. He's too handsome. He's just got pretty privilege. And I'm jealous. That's why not only do we have to learn how to reason through the dialectic for truth, we have to use the same dialectic to examine that which blocks us. Therefore, the dialectic has its application necessarily to truth, philosophy, to remove and address what's false. And by the way, The highest master of that is our dream analysis. And as we've just said, if you're blocked from the dialectic, how do you go through the dialectic to remove your blocks? You need someone else to share it. So those are the 4 aspects of the dialectic: philosophy, midwifery, dream analysis, and sharing it. Sometimes called mythology, sometimes called passing on the tradition, sometimes called being a good friend. So, in the chat, I never see more disgust in humanity than reality shows. Anti-reality shows. Saw this one commercial of some dating reality show. Ooh.
I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw. Raw bull balls. This is raw buffalo balls.
Was it one of those reality shows where they have to eat poor bull balls? There's one guy hitting on a girl says, "Did anyone ever tell you how beautiful my eyes are?" A lady pointing to that cat meme. Oh, it's the whole cat meme. I love that meme. The reality show lady is getting upset and the cat's just going. I love that meme. It's like, I don't know, that's one of my favorite memes because the cat just, the expression of the cat reacting to that lady freaking out. It's just perfect. But he's not just shocked, he's like mad, like. And it's just a dumb cat that doesn't know what's going on. That reality show meme really captures the essence of it all. Yeah, I love that meme. So, if our dream maker is the highest dialectician to give us the highest leadership, dream analysis is central. Therefore, if we only get the messages about what's true, and to remove what's false, when we apply the dialectic to our reasoning, otherwise we'll stay trapped in the haterade punch, or we won't reach our highest purpose, then our job is to apply the dialectic to dreams. Therefore, the instruction we've been getting through the text, figure out how to apply the dialectic to dreams, practice it, talk about it with your friends, write a book on it, is for you. For you.
Bless you. Excuse you. Bless you.
Bless you, excuse you,
If you
all
don't
of you.
know, now you know.
And now you know.
Disgusting. I'm so disgusted.
And if you don't do it, it's disgusting. But I think you can do it because...
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new boundaries.
You're crossing into new boundaries. We also said that we need necessarily someone practicing it, sharing it. Either this kind of a stream where I'm triggering the haterades to surface their problems, or for those willing to watch us go through it, or to actually go through it themselves, they can actually be benefited. At least I have one IRL friend to bounce forth with philosophically. That's fantastic. That's the thing. What, you mean me or in IRL? Oh, you have IRL friend. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. You're very lucky. And of course you do have your dreams, which you can become a friend with. So sharing, bounce back and forth. Gotcha. So to share it isn't interesting because, as we just said, it's necessary. But as we do share it, we have been collecting a list of all of the classes or kinds of responses to truth. So as we are repeating it, reflecting on it, putting the pieces together, learning a bit more, bringing those pieces into our dialectic, we're able to see through it for ourselves and function through it for ourselves. but as we share it, others will respond in certain kinds of ways. We've got those who reject the new and keep the old, they're completely brainwashed. Number one. Number two, wolf in sheep's clothing, pretend to be doing philosophy, but actually they're just pulling their pathologos line. Take a piece of the new. I'll take a little bit of this dialectic to become a better fascist or whatever. The Kabbalah is like that. There are those who see those wolf in sheep's clothing, those rejectors, and reject the rejectors. Mark rejected Paul. There are the bootlickers, the supporters of the rejectors, like John, who supported Paul. There are those like Plato, Plotinus, and Proclus, who take some of the new, but ignore other parts. And one of those, the two primary parts they rejected was philosophical midwifery, the ability to surface through the dialectic the cause of your problems, and dream analysis is the big one. Number 7, those who see those wolves in sheep's clothing and pretend to be another wolf. Yes, let's scam the people, but actually I'm sneaking in the truth. That's pseudo-Dionysius, appearing loyal to the old beliefs, but actually creating an alternative to the literal reading. What if this hierarchy of pope, archbishops, bishops, preachers, altar boys, what if we actually saw that the real meaning was to represent the one self first hypothesis, the second hypothesis, the third, the fourth, and the fifth? See? They can't get mad. It's their own tradition. Until they did get mad when they realized that he claimed to be a friend of Paul, fuckface McDonald.
Oh my fuck.
But actually the dates don't line up. He was actually a student of the academy. Can you spell out Dionysius? Because I confused that last time with the other mythological god. Okay, let's do that. The keyword is Areopagate, and I can't spell it. Here we go. D-O-I-N. Dion. Y-S-I-U-S. Dionysius. So, Dionysus. So it's the same word. But Dionysius the Areopagate. A-R-E-O. Areo. P-A-G-I-T-E. Areopagate. Later he's called Pseudo-Dionysius when they realized he was around the same time the Dark Ages happened because Christianity was being introduced. Yeah, like the god of wine and harvest. One of the 12 Olympian gods within philosophy as well. I think one of the protective gods, I think. Or the Vivek. I always get those two mixed up. So, Pseudo-Dionysius. And party, yes, party.
Where's the joy? Where's the whimsy? Where's the childlike wonder?
Party.
I think it's so awesome.
So awesome. So, I think Dionysius claimed to be a friend of Paul and was there at the crucifixion of Jesus, but actually it was around 530 AD that he was around, which is when the academy was shut down, I think, and the beginning of the Dark Ages. So sneaking in some philosophy into the oppressive religious systems. So they called him Pseudo-Dionysius, but for a long time they thought he was legit. So the main Christian theologian is a guy named Saint Augustine, I think. Thomas Aquinas. And he quoted, yeah, one of those two. Oh, I should find it. Thomas. Not the Gospel of Thomas. So let's go Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas. No, Augustine. Wait. Jesus, they're both of them. August. I can't remember which of the two. Thomas Aquinas, St. Augustine. I think it's Thomas Aquinas. Anyway, he quotes Dionysius like 1,000 times to say, hey, there is a legitimacy. Here we go. Thomas Aquinas cites Dionysius well over 1,000 times. So he's the basis of all Christian metaphysics, and therefore, Thomas Aquinas, and if it's all based on Dionysius, then actually the only philosophical or metaphysical legitimacy in Christian theology is philosophy, true logos. And of course it is, because it's the fucking logos. It's like saying, the only, this crazy person on the street claimed to be a mechanic, and the only time he ever got anything right was when he was quoting an actual mechanic. Yeah, no shit. So if you reject Dionysius, you reject Christianity as a whole. So you either save Christianity and listen to pseudo-Dionysius or Dionysius the Areopagite and find the logos, or you reject it completely. Maybe I wasn't wrong, because some YouTube channel once told me that Cult of Dionysius lives on in Hollywood if you were to look at it symbolically. Wasn't Augustine some Middle Ages, Dark Ages philosopher twat? Probably. Yeah, I was talking about Thomas Aquinas. I think, yeah, probably, likely. I think Aquinas, Augustine follows Aquinas, and then all of the other modern philosophers is in that tradition. That's what we've got here. So, yeah. So, appearing loyal to the old. So, a lion in wolf clothing is number 7. And number 8, libertarian. Someone who's fooled by the fact that when the crazy homeless person, oh, that's not fair, because fucking capitalism, crazy crackhead is claiming to be an expert mechanic, having had no training. The only times he ever got it right was when he quoted some actual mechanical textbook. Funny that. Therefore, we can say, well, actually, there's some legitimacy in crackhead nonsense and some legitimacy in actual mechanical textbooks. So if you want to be a mechanic, you could do either. You could learn from some crazed crackhead, or you can learn from a mechanical textbook. That's a libertarian, both sides. Ficino is one of those people. Only because he was tricked by the lion. Well, if Dionysius found the logos in Christianity, then you could study the logos, actual understanding, or Christianity. No. Dionysius was never using Christianity. He was trying to sneak understanding into belief traditions. That's it. Now, that's the 8th we have on the table. That's interesting because we have another member of an 8th, this new character in the story, which is a new guy, a new homie, a new bro. Drop a drop for fun.
I'm always good, and that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
That's what we stand for here.
Jesus Christ, Emma.
That wasn't Emma.
You're a baby. You're a little baby.
Everything this guy does is perfect and beautiful. And he's handsome. I said it.
Oh, you did say it. That new member is, of course, Synesius. Synesius had some sort of philosophical teacher, Hypatia, who is in the afterlife with a group, found a group of homies doing contemplative stuff above Mount Athos. But Synesius was one of those libertarians, both sides. maybe fascists are right. Maybe the people who want to healthcare and equality of life for everyone is right. Who's to say? You only think that if you've been tricked. So he took a role as a bishop, but accepted much of the teachings of the church, so long as it did not violate what he, when it did not violate what he found to be true. So he wouldn't preach dogma he didn't believe in. Well, why do beliefs anyway? Why do dogma anyway? So, But he was interested in philosophy. He didn't wish to be anything but a philosopher. So he wanted to be a philosopher, but again, caught up in his religious upbringing and culture. That's why you need midwifery. Learning the truth isn't the same as removing what's false. You can learn fitness and perfect the excellence of your body and still have cancer. You have to go to the doctor for cancer, go to a personal trainer for the excellence. So too, learning philosophy isn't the same as removing your problems. That's why there are 4: philosophy, midwifery, dream analysis, and sharing. So here's a guy who wanted to be a philosopher, actually had some training in philosophy, but didn't do midwifery and dream analysis on his beliefs. So was in the middle, kind of a bit messed up. And his name was Synesius. Synesius, like a sneeze. Synesius. Once I had a psychotic episode that I didn't necessarily Jesus, but had to follow in his footsteps so that I can be sacrificed for the greater good of humanity. Crazy, right? Crazy, but maybe intelligibly crazy. Because that's what belief is. If Jesus symbolizes for you the idea of belief, what do you have to become a believer? Sacrifice your own purpose, your own meaning of life. What's the meaning of life? To learn to understand. How do we apply it? To remove your false beliefs, to remove your problems and sadness, and to perfect the true understanding and experience to get happiness. And if you have to sacrifice all that to accept belief, and you do, then yeah, the scam is, hey, die for the billionaires for the greater good. That's being selfless. If you value yourself, you're selfish. Sacrifice for king and country. So Trump can buy another ballroom. So the billionaires can buy a 15th yacht. So the religious people can kill another brown person or Palestinian child. You didn't think you were Jesus? Yeah. Look at you. So again, every random thought, distraction, tangent, problem is understandable, and we can potentially benefit from that providential communication if we learn to listen. Dialectic is learning to listen. So Mr. Synesius, sneezed at that idea of of midwifery. So he wasn't able to address his problems, but he was doing some philosophy. So he's one of those both sidesers. Socrates said, hey, didn't Synesius only want to be a philosopher? And Jesus said, yeah, he said it completely, simply and directly. But here's something that makes Synesius better. I think it was just my mind going crazy. See, do you see the word just? This is the logos, paying attention to the logos, listening to the logos. Do you see the word just is carrying a lot of weight here? Because saying it's just the mind going crazy rejects the idea that there is a reason for it. There is a cause for it. that if you reflect on its reasons and causes, you can understand it. And if you understand it, you can learn something. And if you learn something, you might be able to free yourself from the problem as well as understand where it came up in the first place. All that hangs on the one word, just. So you're rejecting the logos and the dialectic. And if you're rejecting the understandability of your problems, you have to ask, who convinced you of that? And if you're rejecting understanding, you can't have learned it through understanding.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
So if the position is against reason, how did you learn it? Who convinced you problems are not solvable when they are? My psychiatrist wouldn't say I went crazy, but rather got sick. Yeah, so modern psychology borrows from the medical model because the true model is the dialectic or logos. And we've yet to awaken to that because, we killed Socrates instead of listening to him. But we can now because we have this wonderful channel. I was never religious, but maybe the constant implementation of Jesus in life in general just obscured my thought process while my thought process was already screwed up. Yeah, so that's the thing. Even though you say, well, I'm not religious, you grew up in a religious culture and in religious mythology and religious media and politicians, and so that's why it is important, even though if you say, well, I don't believe in that stuff, you have to address the effects of your beliefs and the cultural beliefs. So that's why when we're reading about Socrates and Jesus, you can ask, well, isn't this a philosophy channel? Who gives a fuck about Jesus and belief? Like, most philosophers already reject belief in religion because it's not crazy nonsense used by idiots to justify savagery, and it's always faith is by definition anti-understanding, and it's just savage. So why do we care about Jesus? Because we're all influenced by belief in our culture, in our society. Also, when you were too young to realize what was going on. Also, you have your own family religion of your pathologos. So our purpose to move from belief to understanding through the dialectic manifests as a whole bunch of different ways. Pathologos, religion, well, those are the two big ones, or social, milieu, and individual pathologos. But also, it's worth understanding why we are here in this position, well, when we have to learn a new idea of philosophy. Why is all this weird? Why don't I have the 50,000 viewers that watch Asmongold and Hassan Piker? If this is where we're at, if this is where we are at in history, if this is what we need to learn, every single person, why don't I have their 100,000 followers? They're mine. I want them. I need them. For the money.
I think it's awesome. This is an AI guy.
Because they're AI guys, and I'm legit.
They're ruining the internet with all this trash.
And they're doing trash.
Kant would say some fucking bullshit.
And at school, we learn about Kant doing bullshit.
I'm a human. I don't listen to robots.
We don't want to listen to robots. The mind intrinsically looks for patterns, and we're not always right. Right, so there's two aspects to that. Kant is a cunt. So there's two aspects to that statement. Yes, we look for patterns, absolutely. That's learning, thinking. So there is a part of our soul or mind that seeks intelligibility. We seek patterns in music, we seek patterns in physics, and making computers, and fixing car engines. The highest use of our pattern-seeking mind, or the aspect of soul that seeks understanding, reason, it's called reasoning, is of course the hypotheses of Parmenides, or the dialectic applied to the different stages of reasoning, experienced as different stages of enlightenment in the Oxherding pictures. Now, if we're wrong some of the times, we want to see why we're wrong. Pathologos. If we're wrong, we are projecting things that are not there, or we're blind or blocked from seeing what is there. So we're carrying something with us, we project. What's that called? To carry something that's not true or in opposition to reality? The pathologos. That's belief. That's why beliefs aren't neutral. So anyone who says, well, I think religions are okay so long as, you know, you're nice about it and you don't do a genocide. Fuck no. No. It's like saying cancer is okay so long as you don't have cancer. No. You're carrying through belief something that opposes reality, in principle opposes understanding, because why would you believe if you understood? And it causes your false interpretations and your inability to see patterns as they are. That's why scammers target believers. That's why Trump, he's not fucking Christian. He markets to Christians. He sends all those crazy ass scam emails for money to Christians. Jesus wants you to give me money, says fucking Donald Trump. That's why multi-level marketing people start with, imagine you are a billionaire. We can't be billionaires, you idiot. That's the lie. Billionaires mean everyone else is in poverty except for the 4 billionaires. Belief-based. So if we're not seeing the patterns as they are or interpreting, we have to look for our pathologos beliefs that we're carrying. And we've been practicing that in learning to read. We're not interpreting these texts. We are reading. That's the difference. Beliefs are not neutral. They are the cause of our problems, ignorance, and suffering. Because we carry beliefs and we project it. Ever notice that the fascists always project their problems? Every accusation is a confession. Right? Grindr always crashes at Republican conventions. The guys who are like, gays are evil. Let's focus on gays more. Why? You freak. You sick freak.
I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw. Raw bull balls. This is
Exactly.
raw buffalo balls.
Republicans can't stop talking about how men eat balls.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know. So that's what we're doing here. We're learning how to read without interpretation. How do we understand and not believe? The dialectic. Therefore, if the source of our problems is a false interpretation, to see what isn't there and to respond negatively, that's caused by belief. So interpretation from belief. What's the opposite? Seeing or reading from understanding. What's the skill of the second? Dialectic. Therefore, human opposition to what we're doing here is the cause of our problems from pathologos beliefs that function through interpretation to reject the meaning of life and purpose to master the art of the dialectic. Now, we've seen this a million times in this text, in our reflections. And we've nailed it down a million times with different dialectics as to why the meaning of life is to master the dialectic. Because we can see it. Because we've been practicing it. It becomes obvious. So therefore, to reject the purpose of life would mean you're blocked. In the chat, Republicans can't stop talking about gays because their own predacious towards their bike curiosity. Exactly. They project their interests onto others and they express it in the way their team allows you to talk. Notice, they can't talk about understanding. They can't talk about reflection. You can't ever talk about a problem you have because the religious, the right-wing, the capitalists are chimping. They look for justifications to enact violence. They want you to make a mistake. That's ICE. ICE are taunting people, shooting, murdering people on the streets, kidnapping, doing all sorts of atrocious things to American citizens so that the American citizens stand up and fight back so they can say, look, you've done something wrong. Now we can be more violent. Punishment, sin, hell. All of it's the same. Punitive justice system, prisons, fines, jails, it's all the same fucking bullshit. They look for examples of other people doing something wrong so they can play out their own injustice and sadism, violence, steal all the shit, steal all the wealth, and justify it with, I'm teaching you a lesson. Bull fucking shit. Punishment is sick. But if that's the tradition, always try and catch someone else being wrong and never say anything, be stoic, oh, I have no opinions, but I hate people with blue hair. I hate the gays. If that's the way of being that's allowed in that clan, it's the only way they can talk about the shit they're interested in. What we're doing here is the opposite. You're supposed to miss the mark. You're supposed to get it wrong. That's literally what we're born here to do. What we're supposed to do once we get it wrong is ousia, reflect on it. Reflect on it in what way? With logos, ousia and logos. It's just that simple. Imagination and words, ousia and logos. Self-reflection and understanding. That's the dialectic. To see why you missed the mark, how it functions, why it was believable in the first place, and what's the fundamental idea of self that you are carrying in this lifetime that you were literally born in here to get, so you can remove it. It's not a blame or shame game. It's not a punishment game. Punishment is sick. So if they are in pathologos groups, religion, right-wing politics, capitalism, then their game is never ever have an opinion, because that can be wrong, but try and catch other people making mistakes so you can justify taking their shit, or graping them, or murdering them, or enslaving them in prison camps where you don't have to pay them wages. It's always the same shit. So if they kind of talk about what they're curious about, they project it because they can talk so long as they're attacking someone, because that's their whole MO. If you're curious about homosexuality in religion, right-wing politics, or whatever, you can say, oh, those gays are bad. Let's talk about gays. Let's talk about all the sexy stuff they get up to that's bad. It's projection, because that's the way of being that they can communicate words and ideas. What we are learning is the true way of communicating words and ideas that can actually help us talk about what we're interested in, solve our problems, and reach our excellence. Therefore, this is the necessary way of being for humanity to unite in a new age of reason and reflection called the dialectic, or the love of understanding. Philodianoia. In the chat, apparently dumb fucks like Andrew Tate and Nick Fuentes say it's gay to have sex with a lady. Yep, that's what they do say. Yeah, there's a very strong correlation with fear of women, heterophobia version of homosexuality, not genuine interest and curiosity and love for people of this or that gender. No. Their homosexuality is based on pathologos fear of women, or fear of heterosexual relationships. So a fear and hatred of women that manifests as closeted homosexuality. And those people who carry that fear and hate often become Nazis. Whether it's Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes, or the Republicans, or the priests and all of their Catholic priest scandals, or a lot of those billionaires on Epstein Island. Their interest in men, especially young men, is tied to this fear of women that also ends up with a strong tendency for them to become Nazis if they don't address their problems. So a lot of these, Ben Shapiro or Andrew Tate, Nick Fuentes types, a lot of these people that you see on the right-wing propaganda networks are either, they're closeted gay men, but heterophobic gay. That's why they're always saying not fuck women, They're saying don't fuck women. They're saying oppress women, enslave women, take away women's rights. Women's are the bads. The Nazis are women-hating gays. A lot of them. If we become a rational society, we would look into why that's the case to help them address their pathologous fear, hate, and ignorance that manifests both as Nazi loyalty to fascists as well as a hatred for women. Notice the right wing, the religious, the Nazis, they all hate women. So no shit they're gay. The question is whether or not we want to be rational beings and address it so we can improve our species and help them individually and us collectively. We live in a constant victim perpetuator mentality. Yeah, the two sides of the pathologos. Are you going to be the one inflicting the pathologos or suffering? There's no other alternative. What we are doing here is providing the alternative, understanding a new way of being, the true way of being. The true spiritual, education, and evolutionary tradition that we are to move into if we want to better ourselves, our relationships, or our society. Hey, it's us. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome. How have you been? What's the good word? How's your world? So, they will never address their problem unless they wake up to midwifery. But how can you get the clues about the specific problems that even you might not be able to see? Well, how are you awakening? Amazing. I am so amazing.
These absolute dullards, borderline chimps, who want to kiss a fox.
And I want to kiss a fox because I'm a borderline chimp. But actually I am...
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're brave. You are crossing into new boundaries.
I'm crossing into new boundaries. Well, you are amazing, so I'm glad you feel the way you are.
I'm always good.
And that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
I'm good all the time.
Everything this guy does is perfect and beautiful. And he's handsome. I said it.
Me? Thank you, soundboard. How's your world? So, the significance of dreams. So this guy, you certainly are handsome. See? So I tell everyone that. They don't believe me.
If you don't know, now you know.
But now you know. Okay.
You just blow in from Stupid Town?
Okay. Tired, but I'll be okay. How's you said that you were working a new job as well? And you're putting an end to old relationship problems that were tying you down? Hope that's all going well. So, you was forced to quit. What happened? In-laws, because my place as a woman is not working. What? Oh dear God. So she called me a bitch and yelled at me, so I made her leave. Oh my goodness. But I hope you didn't quit because of them, because of their ignorance. Don't be ruled by the pathologos ignorance of other people. At least be ruled by your own ignorance. Had to quit because of them. What? Why? Why do you listen to what ignorant people say? Throw a rock and you'll get all sorts of ignorant beliefs. They were sabotaging college and my job. Oh. So the question is, why do you listen to them? Or why are you around them? Why are you attracted to that kind of person? Often the people we're attracted to reflect the pathologos model of beauty and truth from our childhood. Like if a little kid came up to you and said, "You're an alien," you wouldn't have an existential crisis because you don't think what that little kid is saying is true. So people who affect us, we listen to, only do so because they reflect an image of what we believe to be true from childhood. Why? Because we don't know what's true unless we're in these books. We are learning to see the truth. And we are learning to understand the truth through the dialectic. So if they're acting in harmful or ignorant ways, they're acting against the dialectic and logos, because the dialectic is rational and intelligible, and it's caring. The two words, intelligent and caring, providence. So if it ain't providential, it ain't true. But, as the oracle says,
I'm always good. And that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
that's also true, but she says,
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
so if it's unreasonable, not providential, then you have to ask the question, why was I convinced? I can't have been reasoned into a position that's irrational. So that's how mind is communicating to us. Whether we want to pay attention to our dreams, our distractions, our thoughts, or tangents, or whether mind says you're not paying attention to your dreams and these other things. You're not reflecting on your reading in a way that can surface your blocks. I'll give you a block. Here's a person. Even the people most focused on the physical world can't escape people. The relationships you're in, the life dramas you face, is nothing other than the exact same providential communication from the source, self and mind, first and second hypothesis, ninth and eighth oxherding picture, to providentially communicate to you, third hypothesis, the mean term, about your logos and pathologos, about your necessity to master the dialectic. So if you're not paying attention to these other things, here is a life drama. So our question is, why are these people believable? What do they reflect from your childhood? Have there been similar people going through your past who have had that same state of mind that seems believable enough for you to pay attention to it and be affected by it? We want to learn the dialectic so we know what kinds of questions we can ask about these present dramas that can allow us to trace it through our past to find its first cause, because that's also the final cause that keeps us in a self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling prophecy. Whatever that origin scene, that first impression of beauty and truth was from childhood that blocked your own development, is manifesting time and time again, not as torture, but as a message to help you wake up, to learn how to listen. Because once you listen, once you learn the message, you don't get the message anymore. Now, at the moment, that's just a clever belief by a handsome streamer. What we're doing here is learning how to read so we can discover the dialectic and apply that dialectic to our dreams and our life dramas, to apply it for ourselves, because that's the practice. We're here to learn and practice, learn and nurture. Only once you start to gain the success, you start to see that you can think clearer. You start to see that you can see clearer. You start to see for yourself that you are not having these same problems anymore. You start to see for yourself you're able to reach the goals you set for yourself without these kinds of blocks coming up. Only then can you verify or validate for yourself that you live as a part of a caring, intelligible universe, providence. And you verify yourself that you can participate in that providence so long as you practice the dialectic. And then as you're able to verify that, you're going to love reading more. You're going to love talking about it more. It starts to snowball. And then, as you're able to free yourself from your blocks and reach the goals you've always wanted to reach, your goals can now become higher. The idea is to stay in the game. Then you start having enlightenment experiences. Now you're in the ox-herding pictures. You've had a glimpse of a higher dimension of reality, or a higher state of mind or self. You start to have a glimpse of the source of reality, and you start to notice it's everywhere all at once. Holy fuck, no wonder all of my dramas, all of my fantasies, all of my dreams, every moment was communicating this intelligible, caring, or providential message. That if I learned how to listen, if I learned the language of mind, the dialectic, I could benefit from. Because the source is everywhere all at once. It's like salt in the sea. It's all through the seawater. Once you've had a glimpse of that, now your goals become higher. How can I really have that? How can I experience that state of mind all at once with greater depth? So now you're in the ox-herding pictures. We've been going through the ox-herding pictures to nail down the stages of development as your goals are now spiritual. But again, you won't be awakened to those goals unless you try it. And unless you try it, you can't prove it. But everything in your upbringing is going to be screaming at you, don't try it. Don't read these books. Don't learn the dialectic. Don't take notes about your states of minds and problems. Don't listen to your dreams. Because all of our upbringing has been based on our pathologos. There are only two things, pathologos and logos. There's only one thing, the self. The pathologos is just the false shadow of the self, logos. So the logos is the inherent intelligibility or understandability and experienceability of self. So there's only one thing, self-logos. And it's distorted reflection. But that's just a reflection of the first thing. The dialectic is the art of the self-logos. But you don't know it because you're carrying the self-logos. We all do from childhood. That's part of the human game. That's what we signed up for as we reincarnate, whether we like it or not. So everything is going to be saying, don't master the dialectic because that's using the logos. And everything I've learned is to oppose the logos, to have the pathologos beliefs. Do it anyway. As you do it anyway, you're developing courage and cool-headedness to do it even though everyone's saying don't do it. All your in-laws, your friends and the family saying don't do it. I'm keeping my cool and doing it anyway.
Cool as a cuke.
So you practice the virtues, you're improving your soul. And then once you start having success, start to snowball. Let me catch up with chat. I'm handsome and captivating. Hooray.
The primary purpose of
I think it's so awesome.
So awesome. Thank you. That's true.
I'm always good, and that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
What do you want? An award? Yes, I would like an award. And if you don't, I will invade your country. Reference. Oh, I'm a bit ahead. They're very irrational, yes. I needed a bit of help, yes, that's difficult, I understand. Ideally, we live in a world where we all had our basic human needs met, so we wouldn't be stuck under situations of oppressive control. Everyone should have a house, food. Should never have to stress about that anymore. Play their own games and make their own rules. Yes, you're under my house and my rules, says religion, says billionaires, says right-wing politics, says parents. Sorry for deleting Discord. No, it's okay. I don't mind. Forcing myself to get out at this point. Yes, good. Courage. You need courage. Why? Because it's new. It's different. You have to change the way you look at yourself. You have to try different things. It requires courage. But part of courage is to keep in mind as you go through that, the alternative is worse. To stuck in a cycle of ignorance and suffering from my pathologos by not reaching out for my highest goals and trying to reach them with excellence. No settling, no diminishing your goals, no diminishing your understanding. To not do that is worse. In this life, stuck in your problems, suffering, but also in your next. If you don't spend the time you have here to learn, especially since you've stumbled upon the logos, very few people have stumbled across the dialectic and logos. We're very lucky. In fact, it's taken us 2,500 years to have a translation of Socrates and Homer. By the way, big news, we're starting to get a true translation of Homer's Odyssey, which contains within it, perhaps, the ideal stages of enlightenment for women, or the ideal kind of female hero, Penelope. It's taken us how long? 2,500 years for us to read the logos, including Homer. Where's our timeline? Here we go. So you're very lucky. But to reject that opportunity and stay stuck in what's comfortable and familiar, and to live a life further entrenching yourself in your false mask or image of yourself, might have even worse consequences when you die and have to reincarnate. You'll probably reincarnate into, I wouldn't take that gamble. So, courage. To keep in mind the fact that the pathologos is worse. So even though the logos is new and different, and it can be scary to let go of your old pathologos patterns, the alternative is worse. Working on it every day. Hooray! That's good. Cheer.
Absolutely. Sent to heaven where she's seated at the right hand of the Father.
What does that mean? Sorry for not being a good friend. Oh, no, don't worry about that. Or chatter. It's okay. We've got 2 chatters today. It's goddamn crazy house up in here. 2 chatters. Oh my god. Can you believe it?
If you're experiencing a mental health episode, we don't want to have to see that.
I am, because there's so many chatters.
The hell's wrong with you people? You sick freaks.
Sick freaks. Yes, I have to apologize. Consistent. I'm a product of the 90s. I'm basically Jewish Kurt Cobain. Which is cool, because Cobain knew what was up. He wasn't fucking woke for his time. Woke is an interesting word. See, every family clan has their own word that instantly indicates the logos. See, woke is what the fascists say is rational. Healthcare, that's woke. Women having rights, that's woke. Before that, that's social justice warrior. Before that, that's a dirty feminist. Before that, they would murder the philosophers for wanting to understand and benefit the logos, the dialectic. That's all. What's the word? Evil, heathen, sinner. What do the Jews have? I don't know, Goyim maybe, I'm not familiar. What do the Muslims have? Heretic, infidel. What do the Mormons have? I don't know. What do the Scientologists have? OBEs or something, or they have their own word. Every time there's a war, there's a way of dehumanizing the others. What do the Nazis say of the Jews? Cockroaches. Vermin. What are the Jews saying of the Palestinians? Savages. What do the Americans say of everyone else? The immigrants currently? Illegals. Criminals. There's always a word that instantly takes away the sameness of self, mind, and the desire for understanding that we are all in. We are all in the same game. And applies automatic wrongness. Why does it have to be automatic? Because it's irrational. Woke? What does that mean? Have you ever seen anyone try and define woke? They can't. Because there is no fucking definition of woke. It's what idiots like Joe Rogan say to dismiss care, empathy, reason, challenging authority because they're fucking cowards. The Rogan sphere are cowards. The fascist right wings are cowards. So woke is one of those words that just dehumanizes reason and the sameness of all humanity. I'm focusing on school. Good for you. CNA to RN to doctorate of nursing. Oh, good for you. Now keep in mind, that journey you go through will be helped if you look for the dialectic in what you're reading, in what you're studying. Look for the logos in your art, and also look for the pathologos as it manifests to stop your development. You gotta do both. My GPA is 3.8. I don't know if that's good or bad. I want to get in now, but I want to take baby steps. Sure. Maynard of Tool. I like Perfect Circle. Tool's a bit scary for me. Seems a bit scary. But there are some Tool songs I like. We're drifting from a patriarchal society to a matriarchal, which is in constant flux. What if Socrates had Parmenides and Diotima as teachers? What if there was an ideal woman and an ideal man that both functions through the same purpose, mastering the dialectic, functioning through the dialectic? Dream analysis. I got a free paralegal to represent me because under domestic violence and financial abuse. Good for you. Hooray. Much love. I guess I'm a sick freak. Sick freak.
You have the brain of a child if you think. Would you just blow in from stupid? Unbelievable. I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw. Raw bull. This is raw buffalo ball.
So long as you're not eating raw buffalo balls, because Joe Rogan told you to.
I don't want to eat a monkey.
Joe Rogan doesn't want to eat a monkey, but he wants you to eat monkey balls.
I don't want to eat a monkey.
Brain rot escalates.
Oh my goodness. They're trying to make nursing not covered by a professional here. Ooh. Woke originally comes from African American civil rights, merely knowing what is going on in your surroundings. Better to be woke than asleep. Yeah, it makes sense. See? Vilified. Vilified. So it's not unusual to take the words that are used by the diminished class and vilify them. Right? Jazz music. Marijuana is reefer madness, used by the jazz musicians, if you know what I mean. Linguistics go, the younger generation adopt and pervert it. We've lost our sense of language. The logos is the true use of language. The dialectic is its art. I'd eat bull testicles if I had a chance to go on Johnny Knoxville's new... Is there a new Fear Factor? I didn't know about that. Oh my goodness. Good evening, everyone. There are 3 chatters.
I'm always good, and that is what I stand for, being good all the time.
You're all good all the time. Hosted by Johnny himself. Ah, it's interesting. Are you a fan of... I was a big fan of CKY growing up as a skateboarder and a punk music person. Poor Bam. I fell out of touch with him when he got on MTV and started doing reality shows and weird stuff. Interestingly, I saw a documentary where it traces his arc when he got into alcohol, like his fall when there was some musician he looked up to and he was an alcoholic. And then he got into alcohol and other stuff. Although, you know, still had a lot of problems growing up. But yeah, I liked some of the CKY stuff. I think that was clever. And their skateboarding was cool. But I've been meaning to watch the latest Jackass movie. I met a cute, shy guy. Ooh. I'm gonna ask him out. Because he gave me a hug when I was crying at work.
You have severe mental illness and you need to be fucking checked into an insane asylum.
Did he say that while he was hugging you? I hope not. If he did, then we'll say
He's so far up his own ass.
he's up his own ass.
These absolute dullards, borderline chimps, who want to kiss a fox.
Maybe he just wanted to kiss a fox.
I don't want to eat a monkey.
After it's over with, he was a nice gentleman to you. Well, that's nice.
Cool as a cuke.
You can... Here's my dating advice. Go up to him and lean in close and whisper in his ear.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
And that will entice him. Quite bitter beings, 96. Ooh. So that's my dating advice. Say, my head is quite large.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
Right. So. Liminal oh my god, we have 4 chatters. This is the biggest we've ever had. Crazy.
The problem is that you can't reason someone out of a position that they didn't reason themselves into.
That was the wrong button. I meant to press this one.
And she spit on him also.
And she spit on him also. So, whisper that and then spit on him also, and then he will fall in love with you.
Cool as a cuke.
He's not a Republican. Well, instant win. So, of that class of people, so as we learn this and share this and find people to share it with, we've got a class, 8 different sorts of people, which have 8 different sorts of responses to truth that lessen it. And one of them is someone who says, well, both sides. Cineas seems to be one of these people, which indicates what we have been talking about. It's one thing to learn the truth about the logos and master the dialectic, but it's also a second activity to address the unsuspected false beliefs we carry about ourselves. That's why you have to be aiming for your highest goals with excellence, because that will surface your blocks. Don't do that. Just settle. Give up. They're not true, just like your dreams are not true, literally. But if you apply the dialectic to them, you can extract the truth and benefit, see the reason. That's through, so it's the dialectic. So even in learning to understand our problems, we're learning the dialectic. So, Sneesius. Sneesius was a bishop who also wanted to do philosophy, but tried to both sides it, libertarianism maybe. So he only talked about church stuff so long as it didn't violate what he believed to be true. From what I learned, said Socrates, let's bring him in. From what I learned, he said that if he was called to the priesthood, he would declare before God and man that he would refuse to preach dogmas which he didn't believe. He made it clear that even the idea of resurrection was to him nothing but a sacred and mysterious analogy. That's pretty good because we know that there is no Easter in the Bible. That section, and if you look at any Bible that's half decent, they all have a little footnote at the end of Mark where he says, God, why have you abandoned me? Notice, no reflection on his own problems. He hasn't realized that it was his own pathologos religious beliefs that caused his demise. He's blaming others. So in a tragic hero story, the tragic hero realizes it was his own fault, but too late. Oedipus gouging out his eyes and say, oh my God, I may as well have been blind. I was blind, and hurting himself because it was too late. Jesus doesn't have that, so the story of Jesus is formally called a pathetic hero's tale. But after that, that's how it ends. Because Mark is that class of interpreter that sees the wolf in sheep's clothing. So while Paul claims to speak for Jesus' teachings but rejects everything he says and says just believe, have faith, Jesus talked about understanding and experience. Paul said, fuck that, just believe me. To him we say,
I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw.
okay. Mark is that fourth category, the rejecter of the rejecter. So he shows, hey, this is what happens. This is what really happened. This is what happens if you don't address your problems. So, if you look at those Bibles that are half decent, it'll have a little footnote that says, everything after God, why have you abandoned me, was added 200 years later by the church. So, but actually it was all okay after all because Poochie magicked his way up to his home planet. To reference that Simpsons episode, Poochie just magicked his way up. So, Jesus magicking from the dead or Easter, garbage, complete garbage added to save the story of belief. So the class of interpreter called bootlicker, or number 5, the supporter of those who reject the truth, like John. So Sneesius here at least recognized that doesn't make sense, and it's just a sort of an allegory. But of course, that's that category of 8, the people who try and both sides it. Why not just reject the false? Why do you have to save the old beliefs? Oh, no. We'll keep the resurrection and Easter and the chocolate eggs, but we'll look at it as an allegory. Why? Allegories are only decent if they're written by someone who knows something. That's why when we want to study the gods, we listen to what Plato and Proclus, those from the academy, say, because they use it as a metaphor or allegory to talk about the different stages of development within the Logos. But then if Crazy Ted from up the street said, oh no, I wrote a story about Zeus, it's about how he liked to do crack. You're not going to take that as well as Plato's idea of Zeus and say, well, sounds like Zeus was this god that Plato said did this and this, but also Crazy Ted said smoked crack. That's how we learn mythology at school, like a big compendium of all of these opinions. That's not study. You turn to page 18, and then Zeus also did crack. What? Oh yeah, Crazy Bill added that. This is why it's exciting that we have a translation of Homer's Odyssey that's coming out now. We've got the first couple of books. Because Homer was the first that we have any sort of record of, philosopher who gave an account of the Logos and our soul's development personified through gods. And it has Penelope as well. The gods praised Penelope as the hero of that book. So just like there aren't a lot of animes that have the hero main character a woman, there aren't a lot of stories that have the woman as the main character, but we have one coming out soon. That's exciting. And all of the key words needed to understand it, the Logos, are going to be in there. So if you're a woman and you want to know, you want a story that personifies the ideal or excellence of a woman, stay tuned. Jesus says, there is little doubt about Sneesius's views. He did make clear that he considered himself a philosopher. Indeed, he said that he didn't wish to be anything but a philosopher. He said it simply and directly. Would you recall for me what he said about the importance of dreams? The big puppy. The highest activity, the greatest activity we can participate in to perfect our art of the dialectic and engage in highest providence. Dreams. He stands apart from the other philosophers if he makes dreams not only important, but also essential. Notice the word if. We have been finding a place for dreams in our understanding of true philosophy. We have been understanding why it's the highest human activity. We have been even wondering, hey, if our purpose, if the five causes, if our purpose, so you want to ask a why question? Why is there a house? You point to those causes. Oh, because they're bricks? The material cause. If there wasn't bricks, there wouldn't be a house. No, I mean, why is there a house? Oh, because there are builders that built it? No, I'm still not satisfied. Oh, because they did, so those builders, as the doer, did the activity of building on those bricks? See, 3 causes. Oh, no, I'm still not satisfied. Why is there a house? Oh, because there was a blueprints. They're all answers. They're all legit. They needed to be bricks, building, builder, and blueprints. No, I'm still not happy. Oh, because Billy needed a place to live. So those are the 5 causes that we are applying in our highest way. So hang on a second. The ideal material cause or receptive cause, bricks receptive to be able to being built with. Our soul reading the text to follow the logos, our mind following the dialectic to remove our problems and perfect our understanding, and our self following the dream master. Why? Because the activity of reading is to follow the logos or to apply the dialectic. Its opposite is interpretation, which is to add your own beliefs. If interpretation is the negative activity from the false image of the self. So, whether it's a soul following the logos, mind following the dialectic, self following the dream maker, it's all following the self logos through the activity of dialectic. Someone who helps us is not the builder, but the dialectician. And the map, the blueprints, is the dialectic itself, which can be seen within mind and self. Therefore, why was there a house? The final cause, so Billy could live his life in somewhere. That for the sake of which. Why go through receptivity to the logos in every possible way? The activity of the dialectic, mastery of the dialectic, and the paradigm of the dialectic and self-logos to return to the self with that mastery. By the way, who's the highest dialectician? Your dream maker. What's therefore the highest activity? Dream analysis. What's the most receptive you need to be? Listening to your dreams. Therefore, what can dreams also allow you to do? Awaken to the direct experience of the model that dreams are using to create your dreams. Must be using something. Therefore, if our highest functioning is to return to the self through the greatest art of the dialectic, and the greatest dialectician is the dream maker, what's the difference between self and the dream maker? Is there a difference? That's one of our big questions. So notice, dream analysis is the central highest activity for us based on our own reflection and reading and experience, hopefully. And the dream maker seems to be the highest expression of the highest activity. So not only is dream analysis essential, it has the highest position in our understanding because this text is a fucking banger. And we are the best noodles.
No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You are crossing into new boundaries.
We're crossing into new boundaries. So we've got a place for it. Now, Jesus is saying, if Sneasius makes dreams not only important but essential to the spiritual life, as we have done, he will surely stand apart from the other philosophers. So not only are we understanding true philosophy, we are reaching the highest stage. Above all the other kinds of interpreters within the religious tradition or within the Hellenic philosophy tradition, including Plato, Socrates saw the necessity of dreams, but Socrates didn't write it down, so he left it to his students Plato, who missed it. So we're reaching the level of Socrates, but if we're able to also share it, we might be functioning higher than Socrates. Not his fault, we killed him. And if, as we've been being instructed to do from the book, if we can figure out a way of applying the dialectic to dreams and do a book on it, we would be at the highest level. So not only picking up the tradition that was left behind once we counterattacked Socrates, but improving it. It's a win-win-win-win-win.
It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
That one's perfect and exactly
Perfect.
the case.
If he saw dreams as not only important but essential, he would stand apart from the others. It is only recently that I learned about the direction Sneasius had taken in philosophy, for as you know, I have been absorbed in my contemplations for a period of time, and I have not kept up with such things. He stressed that dreams are especially significant to those given to philosophy, since they are the ones open to enlightenment. Philosophy are the ones open to enlightenment, and we have been seeing today why. Not only is it experience, but it's understanding. Only philosophy has that too, the logos. And not only are you supposed to experience the true, you have to remove the blocks and the false. Only philosophy has midwifery. So the only ones genuinely fully open to enlightenment are philosophers, true philosophers. Therefore, the only ones who can see the essential significance of dreams are going to be philosophers. He found that it was through dreams that one can reach the receptacle of truth. Receptive through the activity with the instrumental, according to the paradigm, the receptacle of truth that we have been receptive to in dream analysis. Only through dreams one can reach the receptacle of truth, pure, brilliant, and divine. He added it was through this kind of pursuit one could see the future. Wow. Holy shit, that's a new idea. Very important words that he passed on, and they need to be reintroduced to those who regard themselves as religious. Okay, Jesus, you're all about the religion and life still. Fair enough, whatever. Among the things that he covered, what would you say you especially learnt about his teaching and practice? Yes, I did learn what I needed to discover because I wanted to follow those who have a kinship with dreams as they practice their philosophy. So, us recognizing dreams as the highest place, soul reading these texts to discover the logos, follow the logos, ruled by the logos, mind participating in dialectic with our friends, self listening to this highest functioning of self, maybe dream maker. We're putting dreams at the top. So if Socrates wanted to find where the coolest homies were, he would go for the top. Where are the coolest bros and bras? Broettes? Where are the coolest bros and broettes?
Kant would say some fucking bullshit.
And not Kant, who would say it's bullshit. Because I want to hang out with those bros.
Brain
and broettes.
rot escalates.
Just because I said brain broette.
If you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
It's filled with secrets. So Socrates knows enough to look for the coolest bros and broettes. Those who are interested in dreams. Because those ones are the ones truly open to enlightenment and the receptacle of truth. Pure, brilliant, and divine. Interesting, is it not? I wanted to follow those who have a kinship with dreams, says Socrates, as they practice their philosophy. We're doing it. You're paying attention to your dreams, you're doing it. It's not just academic, or not just meditating on a mat, you're doing it. He held that in the continuous. Why would dreams send you many dreams if it wasn't continuous? Let's keep going. The continuous study of dreams, that the imagination becomes conjoined with a profound understanding that awakens the divine character, through which intuitive intelligence, the eye of the soul, can be approached and experienced. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wrong.
Wow. 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 I think it's so awesome. Wow. 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 Wow.
Die mad about it, bitch.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow. So, highest practice and highest kind of philosophy. Continuous, it's a relationship. Imagination and understanding combining. That's what we have access to, right? We can imagine stuff and we can understand. Poorly in belief or properly here. Now, if we do the highest kind, what happens? We're awakening something. Our highest character. That's also the character of the divine. Holy crap. What happens if we continue this relationship? We are awakening intuitive intelligence. A higher class of intelligence. Immediate, intuitive. Talk about the flow state sometimes, don't we? What's that intelligence? We're awakening the eye of the soul. We have a sixth sense, or an eye of the soul we're awakening. We're approaching it. So there are stages. So those hypotheses of Parmenides, along with the stages of the oxiding pictures, we can use in understanding how we approach our highest divine character, awakening our intuitive intelligence, and also experience it, riding the ox, the eighth luminosity in the oxiding picture. He echoed our own understanding that it is from God that the knowledge of dreams come. Oh my goodness. The Dream Master ain't no chump. What God? Self? Mind? Which? Both? It's our question. He made it clear that the gods were not independent floating beings with beards on clouds hurling lightning bolts at non-believers, but rather pure intelligences. He was one of those, says Jesus, who saw that dreams are the essential part. Highlight it. Dreams are the essential part of the art of divination. We've been talking about the highest art being the art of the dialectic. But hey, if dreams have the ability to see into the future, or divination, is it neglecting the dialectic? Of course not. So we've talked about God and gods, or one and oneness, first and second hypothesis, and kinds of pure intelligences. So, if there is an ultimate art of the dialectic that is served by a different art called divination, could divination be an aspect of the greater art? Just as the gods are pure intelligences, which would be aspects of the intuitive intelligence. So we're not using divination to, predict the winner of the Bulls game. And this is where I say bull testicles.
It's better to wrong. You moron. You have severe mental. I'm eating the testicles of this bull, and I'm eating it raw.
Right, the Bulls. That's why I looked for that one.
Jesus is gonna come down and wipe this place out. Who cares?
Come on, calm down. Or to win the stock market, or to get the parlay on the over-under of the Super Bowl. The art of divination we're used as an aspect in service of the highest art dialectic, most ideally expressed as dream analysis. So talking about, you could represent this mythologically, do an episode of, or a movie about the Avengers where Time Lord Doctor Strange uses his time stone in this kind of a way. That would be nice mythology or sharing. Did he really believe that it was through dreams that not only philosophers but all mankind could be visited by pure intelligence and by God? Pure intelligence. Second hypothesis. The highest idea of God, self, source. What's unique? No fighting, no division, no ICE agents, no Gestapo police, no prison camps, no genocides, no enslavement through capitalism, no right versus left bullshit. We can all be unified in the highest kind of intelligence through dreams, the highest expression of true philosophy. The sorts of people that Socrates followed can unite humanity. And if it's the most ideal expression of the dialectic, why would we settle for anything else? We were just saying, being in the game means not settling. Highest goals, highest excellence. Why would we settle for a way of unifying humanity under anything less? Oh yes, let's unite under killing aliens. Bullshit. Let's unite against in religion, or let's unite against immigrants. Fuck off. Unite against fuck off.
Kant would say some literally
bullshit.
Suck my dick, dude. Unbelievable sluts these days.
These absolute dullards, borderline chimps who want to kiss a fox.
I'm too pure.
Too pure for that. So, if all mankind, not only us philosophers who are playing the game with most fun, most ideally, but everyone, all mankind, the new way of being, the new age for humanity, if we decide, if we pick it up, if we choose, if we want to have some fun out here. Socrates. Yes! Yes! Yes. He was one of those recognized that dreams come to us all, so that they reveal a personal knowledge about our struggles that we most desperately need to know. The greatest midwife. I should add that, like us, he held that it was entirely unnecessary to interpret dreams. That's the key word. Why is beliefs the cause of our problems? Why is every accusation a confession for religious right-wings and capitalists? They're interpreting, they're projecting. Our false beliefs function to interpret or project what isn't there and to be blind from what is there, often reason and evidence and facts. Empathy, our sameness as humans, selves seeking understanding. And what's the opposite? That's what we've been learning, and how we've been learning to read in a new way, not interpretation, not projection, not using it to project our own false beliefs, learning to see what's there. Not just see what's there, make it our own, meaning a learning and practice of the dialectic. So if dreams are not through interpretation, what does that mean? What's the puzzle? It must be through the dialectic. Therefore, our purpose, one of our goals in this text, is to do our own book. Through our own experiments and practice and play and sharing with friends, how can we use an application of the dialectic to unpack the true meaning and messages of our dreams and become like the dream master himself, dream maker himself? Not only do they reveal a personal knowledge about our struggles that we most desperately need to know, he also said it was entirely unnecessary to interpret dreams. You don't have to go to some BuzzFeed website or some Oprah Winfrey book club dream interpretation book, or just make them up. You have to learn to understand. Dreams can become visible from the depths of their obscurity through the kind of reflection that we both know is the passageway to the divine. Therefore, if the opposite of interpretation, dialectic, is how we get the message of dreams that makes the obscure visible, that would mean that that same art of dialectic is the passageway to the divine.
I'm always good. The problem is that you can't. No, you're not the one that's mentally unwell. You're great. You are.
I love this guy.
I love this guy.
Dead-eyed, and I don't... Absolutely.
Personality maxing requires you to look in.
It's a guy whose head appears to be on backwards, and then half lady.
My head is quite large and filled with secrets.
So, one way of going is, well, okay, that would mean that the passageway to the divine, or the spiritual method, is the dialectic. Holy fuck. But we've also, earlier in the book, come to our own conclusion that the passageway to the divine, either divine mind, second hypothesis, or its source, the ultimate divine self, is through the third hypothesis, the dialectic understanding. So whether we're going backwards, what's the kind of reflection we need to apply to dreams? Whatever is the passageway to the divine. Well, we already know it's dialectic. Therefore, we have to find a way of applying dialectic to dreams. Or whether we go the other way. Hey, it's the opposite of interpretation, which is the dialectic. Therefore, if the dialectic is how we make clear the meaning of our dreams, then that would be the passageway to the divine. The kind of reflection. What's reflection? Imagination and understanding. Ousia and logos. The dialectic. The kind of reflection that we have been learning as the passageway to the divine, and also how we read. It's also how you listen to your dreams. The highest activity that we can engage in, to the point where, hey, if you're chilling with friends doing dream analysis, you know who might be knocking at your door? Mr. Socrates himself. Because those are the people that I want to follow, those who are into dreams. Also, wow, and awaken a new kind of aspect of the greatest art, divination. Holy crap. Through a continuous study of dreams, the imagination becomes conjoined with our most profound understanding. Notice no settling, no imagination or understanding of Eastern spirituality, or understanding and no experience of academia. Both, no settling. Awakening a divine character, intuitive intelligence, experienced, developed and experienced most highly, approached and experienced, but also art of divination. Through this kind of pursuit of those truly open to enlightenment, true philosophy, through dreams, one can reach the receptacle, that where all truth is flowing from, most pure, brilliant, and divine, but also it's through this pursuit you'll be able to see the future applied through the dialectic as an art, the art of divination. Holy fuck beans. Wow, what an insight. Now notice, an insight that won't mean anything unless you've been following along with the other 130 episodes. An insight that won't mean anything unless you've been reading. Won't mean anything unless you see how it can be applied to the dialectic and not picking sports teams to gamble on. But also, if you haven't been seeing the significance of what we're doing, you can dismiss it. Oh, surely not possible. The Time Stone, that's only for Doctor Strange in a make-em-ups. What about dreams? The highest expression of the highest art. The highest activity we can engage in. Which seems to be if it's through dreams you can reach the highest stages of enlightenment, not only is it important, necessary. Meaning, if you can recognize that the highest spiritual practice that really opens you up to the development of the art, the awakening of divine intelligence, eye of the soul, the unification of imagination and understanding into a single kind of intelligence, intuitive intelligence, also awakening the possibility for future sight or divination, then you have seen that dreams are not only important but essential. If you've done that, then you, to quote the text, stand apart from all the other philosophers.
Wow.
Wow. Great job, everyone. Hooray for you. Wow. Thank you for all the people who followed. We had a big party today. 4 chatters. Oh my goodness. Watch out, Asmund Gold and his son Piker. 4. Now, if they tell 4 people, and they tell 4 people, and they tell 4 people, that's 50,000 right there. That's all of their audiences. And if I get both of their audiences, that's 100,000. That sounds about fair. Imagine the dollars I get. Oh my goodness, that's what this has all been about. Don't tell anyone.
Would you just blow in from Stupid Town?
I did a little bit.
Cool as a cuke.
Thank you. Oh my goodness, how cool is this? Worth it? Fun? Worth paying attention to your dreams? Worth practicing the dialectic? Worth having a go? Seeing if you can unpack it? Seeing if you can create a method? Sharing it with your friends? Worth joining the Discord? There's a link below. Worth supporting the channel if you can afford it? Link below. Worth following on YouTube and Twitch? I hope so. Worth seeing me in the next one? Wow, that would be cool.
Jesus is gonna come down, wipe this place out. Who cares?
Don't be so pessimistic.
I'm eating the testicles of this
Oh my
bull,
goodness.
and I'm eating it raw.
raw.
Bull
Oh no.
balls. This is raw
Oh my
buffalo
goodness.
balls.
Calm down. No need for that. We have something better. Dreams. So, I'll see you next time. Sweet dreams. And I'll see you in the next one.